You know that feeling? You walk away from a conversation with a younger woman and your brain starts going crazy asking, was she flirting with me or am I just imagining it? You've all been there. And the thing is, most guys are looking for these huge, obvious signals from us women, like in the Hollywood movies, and they're blind to the more subtle signs that we actually send them. I'm a 35-year-old former catwalk model who's now making a living dating coaching men, firstly on Zoom, and then out in the real world, helping my clients meet women in real life. I can tell you that you guys think that us women are being subtle, but we think that we're being desperate and easy and literally throwing ourselves at you. And it drives us girls freaking nuts when we think that you can't read these signals and we're into you and you're just blind to seeing it. So that's the huge problem in dating. Women don't realize how shocking men are at reading their signals. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 signs a girl's really into you that most guys completely miss. And if you can just learn to recognize 1 or 2 of these signals that I share with you in this video and act on them, you'll find that you get all of these easy dates with younger women coming out of nowhere. As long as you learn to dress okay, you'll suddenly have 5 or 10 times more easy opportunities just falling into your lap. So you don't need to spend your 40s, 50s, and 60s driving yourself crazy, swiping left, or constantly chasing women down the street like some pimply-faced 19-year-old who just read the book, The Game. So let's get into it. Number 1 is eye contact. So, I mean, even just a half a second of eye contact can be huge for a woman in so many different situations. Let me explain. I've been coaching a 51-year-old guy on Zoom this year on how to read women's signals that you'll learn in this video. And I also worked with him on holding eye contact and starting conversations once he picked up on these signals. He's balding and the little bit of hair that he has left is grey. And he literally works as a bus driver, living in a shithole, as he described it, to support himself after the worst financial bad luck story I've heard in my entire life. So he says he's getting interest from girls everywhere he goes. And he's literally now dating an intelligent 29-year-old. So that's obviously a 22-year-old age gap. So how is he reading a woman's eye contact so well? Well, to help me get into this in more detail, I'm going to be joined by James McLean, who founded Social Coach all the way back in 2006. And of you guys watching the videos, actually 93.6 of you haven't subscribed. So if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe, please do so. Please ring the bell, the notification bell, share it with all of your friends, anyone you think might be interested in this, and that would help us so, so much, and also make it much, much sooner that I'll be making a whole bunch of other videos as well as these YouTube lives. And also in about 30 minutes, I'll show you how you can get to go on a one-on-one date with me over Zoom and get my expert coaching on how to improve with women dramatically. Hey, James.
Okay, eye contact. Yeah, if she holds a little eye contact a little bit longer than normal, not necessarily in an obvious way like in the movies, just that subtle moment where she sort of looks at you, even just for a fraction of a second, and especially if she smiles a little. Sometimes if you're good at this, you'll see she's flicking her hair a little bit. Sometimes she's got a nice chest, she'll stick that out. Then she looks away as if nothing happens. That's a huge sign that most guys don't pay attention to. But if she ever turns and looks back, that tiny pause is everything. It's everything. It takes something that's like, oh, she could be interested in me, to I won't say sure thing, but pretty bloody close. So and then so if she does look at you even for a short time, then look away, look back, that's one of the biggest signs of all. That second look is really the dangerous one. To illustrate this, I was in a cafe with a really attractive girl. And then a girl who was like stupendously attractive walks in. And then, I'm guessing she looked at the girl I was with, and she looked at me. She goes, I'm going to cause a bit of trouble here. So she walks past, and she was wearing the tightest spray-on dress and the most, my joke is a push-up bra designed by the boys at SpaceX, and high heels and everything just, and it's like she just walks past and it's like seared in my mind forever. It's like woo, 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 just incredible breast tissue, incredible face, these sparkling green blue eyes. And then she looks at me and she really holds eye contact really strongly. And then she flicks her hair like that. Then she looks away and then she walks a step or two more, and her hips were swaying back and forward like you see a catwalk model doing a runway. And then the big thing was she darted her eyes back like that. Sorry, I do very bad female impersonations. I should teach Tess how to do this. And then without a word of a lie, after we saw woo, 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 some of the best breast tissue of all time, she looks back and she licks her lips at me. So, yeah, I'm not saying she's necessarily dying for me. It's like, oh, he's with this attractive girl. I'm going to see what happens and cause a bit of trouble here. Possibly. It might have been she's more attracted to me than she normally would be because of the girl I'm with. But yeah, the most valuable thing in our YouTube lives are these stories where I just give you 6 or 7 things that will hopefully be seared in your mind for a long time, long beyond when you forget these 7 signals. So, yeah, so what happened there? She looked at me. She walked with her hips swaying. She flicked this bit like Tess thickness, big, thick model hair. She flicked that around. She was wearing the most ridiculous dress ever. She put a little spring in her step so that those boobs that were already bouncing bounced a lot more. And then she looked away, and then she looked back. Then she licked her lips. And yeah, I wasn't food. And what this girl would ever bother doing with me if she just saw me standing in the street is beyond me. Again, social women want guys who show they can rise up status hierarchies, and I had an attractive girl I was facing. So yeah, there's so many things in that story about eye contact. Now, not all your examples will be so subtle, but if you are getting eye contact, if you are seeing particularly a few other signals around them, that's a really good sign. Tess, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying earlier, if she's looking at you, there's a reason. Especially the double take. The double take's a big one. You know, if she's if she kind of just glances over casually and then looks away, that's not the same as she looks over, she sees you look at her, so she quickly looks away, and then she like turns back, right? So there's a big difference there. Yeah, that's quite an obvious one. Oh, I mean, subtle for you guys. We think it's obvious, but you guys might think that that's a subtle one.
It's been kind of stupid. We can build a company, and we can make things, and we can fight and plan and strategize, but this social stuff's not our thing. Yeah, we're just clueless. So yeah, if an attractive younger woman holds your eye contact, even for a second, it probably means she's noticed something about you. You know, you could obviously have a big booger hanging down your nose or something, or there could be some other reason she paid attention to you. But so often, it means something. One of the things I do for my students is I get a group of my Tessas and Jackies and Nevenas, all these models, catwalk models, lingerie models, swimsuit models, and I sit them down in front of a bunch of my clients, and the guys just drill them, and I give the girls a huge bonus if they add the most value on the panel. And yeah, the stuff we hear, and one of the things that floored me in 20 years of dating coaching, this is one of the most interesting things I heard. If a girl who's attractive, is wearing anything that's slightly figure hugging or sexy, if she even looks at you for a fraction of a second, according to these women, back 8 or 10 years ago, she's interested. There's no other reason she'd ever attract that sort of attention, particularly after that book, The Game, was written, and guys were coming up to women, were telling them their nose wiggles when they talk, and they're a bad girl, and whatever, they were a bad sister, a naughty girl. So yeah, if a girl does hold your eye contact, that may have lessened a little bit with the whole sort of post-COVID crazy post-Harvey Weinstein era. But yeah, if a girl is holding eye contact with you, that's usually a really important sign. So I might just quickly get into some of the psychology behind this. So if an attractive girl looks at you, just even for a short time, and looks away, let alone looks at you, looks away, looks back, and you don't act on this, she thinks one of three things. One, he's a clueless nice guy who I probably wouldn't want to date anyway because he's crap in bed. He's never had attractive girls. You know, he's a settler. He just gets whatever he's given. Yeah, he's going to be crap in bed. He's not really going to understand female psychology. He's not going to be that great in a relationship apart from taking advantage of him, which not all girls want to do, by the way. So that's one. You're clueless. Number two is you don't act on it, which means you know about it, but you're a wimp. Again, that's not a desirable thing for girls. Us men are meant to be the masculine, strong action takers, not the wimps. Or number three, it could mean you notice you're just not attracted to her. So either way, it really sucks for the girl. So yeah, that's kind of huge. I might talk a bit more about that later, but I just wanted to get into I had a really good point done. Okay, I'll do this one first. Okie dokie. Number two, he can't count. He was a financial analyst who can't actually put numbers the right order. Finds excuses to touch you. When I was at university, I was doing a bunch of classes with a very sexy, beautiful girl, probably one of the sexiest girls in that year. And it turned out we lived very close to each other, and the university was, 40 minutes drive at best away from where I was, much worse than peak hour traffic. And I was a super dork with a big nose, and I weighed nothing, and I was hunched over, and I was like the dorkiest guy ever, but I was kind of smart. So I kind of, we studied together. I might have helped her with certain subjects a bit. And yeah, she decided to hang out with me because for whatever reason I won't go into, I didn't have a license at that stage. I used to pay her a bit of petrol money to pick me up and drop me off. So yeah, I was often seen with one of the sexiest girls on campus. Now I was still a virgin at this stage. So anyway, one day at the bar, when I was probably in a good mood and I was with cool people, one of her friends came up who was still stupidly hot, but in my standards, not quite as hot as the one I was, who's my study buddy and petrol money lift girl. But she came up to me. I will never forget this. She comes up to me and she looks at me and she takes off her Ray-Ban, what is it? Tom Cruise risky business sunglasses, whatever they're called. She takes them off. She exposes these huge dark brown Italian eyes. She looks at me in the eye. Then she comes and slides in skillfully and she touches me just below the solar plexus. And yeah, it was incredible. So she leans in and touches me and holds my eye contact for, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds. And then she giggled and tilted her head. I remember this. Now, me being the stupidest guy in the whole world, and some of you may see some of this in you, I was freaked out because I was one of those little skinny fat guys who hadn't played sport in a while, and I was eating hamburgers every day at university. So like one of the hottest girls in the year comes and touches me. And I'm like, oh, what did you do that for? I'm also insecure because my self-esteem with women is so horrendously low because of my childhood, and I was still definitely a virgin. So, yeah, I don't know if she was interested in me because I was friends with this super hot girl and I was with cool people at the time. She might have wanted to give me attention. I don't honestly think she wanted to take me to bed. I shouldn't tell you guys this, but she may have. But yeah, it's just this stuff happens. This is an extreme example all the time. The other thing Tess and I crap on and on about is women don't look at how tall you are or how good looking you are or how muscly you are. They look at cues and they try to establish your social hierarchy in the room and your social status. Because she knew I was friends with one of the hottest girls in the uni, and we were friends. She liked me. She's never going to sleep with me. But yeah, she liked me. We were friends. We hung out. I helped her with her study. Because of the status I had, and the fact I was probably around more people than her in the bar at that time. She came up and overtly hit on me. But my self-esteem was so poor. Even though it seemed obvious, I was completely blind to it. It's more information than you need. But on another occasion, the same girl came up and pushed her chest into me. And she was Italian. And this was one... I don't want to swear yet in a YouTube video. This was one very, very, very good chest. And that might have been the subject matter for my nighttime nocturnal self-pleasuring for maybe a year. That was probably the first time a chest ever touched me. Yeah, so I don't know. I could have got a year out of that. More information you guys need. One time, I think I was in year 11, and some girl pulled her singlet out. And I saw it was just like A or B cups, but there were little nipples there. And honestly, that was my go-to material, well into my late 20s, to be honest, when I needed to get the job done. It was like Michael Jordan's fadeaway jumper in his second three-peat was the image of that girl's boob hanging out. More information than you guys need, but yeah, I struggled worse than pretty much any man you've ever met in your life. Tess, do you want to talk about signals? And just some of the signals that girl gave me that I was totally clueless about.
Yeah, the touch is obviously finding an excuse to touch you. Obviously, yeah, it's like women, if they're not interested in you, they're probably going to try to avoid you, especially attractive women, or they're not going to go out of their way to try and touch you for no reason. Right? So if you notice that she's brushing up against you or reaching out to touch you for, a reason that can't be explained other than she's interested, then that's definitely the reason. So yeah, little things like she might grab your hand and ask to look at your hand, the palm of your hand, or she might when she's talking to you, put her hand on your shoulder or on your chest or on your back or something. That's a big one. We talked about eye contact. I think the fact that you're with cool people or another attractive woman definitely could have been an instigator for why she was touching you in that moment as well. Obviously, because if she had some level of interest, then, when you're with this other woman, she kind of wants to claim you and get your attention, right? Rather than you being, giving all of your attention to the other attractive woman. So, that very well could have been an instigator there.
Yeah, Tess has raised a great point. I mean, she may have wanted to sleep with me. I mean, that's one of the things you find about women. They have ups and downs emotionally. And there's times in their life where they'll just sleep with any girl. I mean, some girls will they've been dumped, or they're down, or they're depressed, or they're lonely or something. And I don't think men understand quite how lonely women get. So yeah, you're often quite surprised. Yeah, but back to the subject of where I had to think about the sight of a girl's boobs from when she pulled her little top out. Or actually, I remember the girl I was telling you about. She was quite conservative with her chest because it was amazing. It was like one of the world's great chests, and she had a very narrow hip to waist ratio and a very sexy face and big lips. Anyway, one time I saw her out, and some guy pulled all the hair off her absolutely insane cleavage push-up bra, and that was material I was using for my nighttime self-pleasuring for some time. Now, young men today have been denied of this. They just swipe 2 or 3 times, and they've got more porn than existed in Amsterdam in the year 1999 at just 2 swipes. So yeah, this is another reason us older guys have such an advantage over younger men. We haven't been completely and utterly destroyed by the absolute toxic garbage that is the little bit of porn I've been exposed to. Friends know of you or get all excited around you. When I was working in finance, there was a there's a really good. She's a beautiful girl. For some reason, I got lots of huge chest stories. She had a huge chest, and she was really smart. She was one of the smartest, most sort of whatever sophisticated. I don't know. She was into stuff. She'd traveled. She'd read a lot of books. She was from a nice family. She's one of the more desirable women I'd met growing up in Perth. And one time I met a friend of hers in a local bar, and we were introduced by people, and then she, when it came out and she found out I was in, she goes, "Are you the James McLean? You're the James McLean." And she freaks out like I'm some sort of celebrity. Like I'm some sort of, like I'm Brad Pitt or Michael Jordan or Elon Musk or something. She just went nuts. And because what happened was obviously the girl I'm talking about had a huge crush on me. She'd gone home and just blah, 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 to a friend. It was a bit hard on her because I really did like her, but there was no way known, given the money I was making in my life, the money I was making at this stage of my finance career, that I was ever going to have sex with a girl in my company. Apart from the fact I was basically a virgin, I'd have humiliated myself in front of a girl who knew lots of people I did, who was, working for some of my best referral sources. So it just wasn't going to happen. But yeah, she completely freaked out, and I'll never forget it. I won't go into reasons why, but her friend was actually quite well known, like got a lot of newspaper attention, that sort of thing. So yeah, Tess, can you talk about when you can often tell signals of how much a girl likes you from her friends? I'll give another example of that in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like the vast majority of what women talk about with each other are men and relationships in general, feelings and emotions, relationships, right? So if she's interested in you and she's definitely going to talk to her friends about it, right? So if you think, oh wow, I'm surprised that this girl's friends know something about me or have heard some story about me, then it's likely that the woman definitely has interest in you, because why would she be talking to her friends about someone who she has no interest in, right? So it's kind of logical. Yeah, and again, like I said, us women, we like the vast majority of what we talk about is men and relationships. So if you're coming up in that conversation, then that's a very good sign.
That's great. Next up, we have remembers tiny details about you. Sorry about the numbering this today, guys. So I was dating a girl who was a model, who was quite a successful model when I met her, and I was just astounded. I was completely astounded by the amount of detail she knew about me, and she asked questions, and she remembered so much stuff. Our first date was probably, oh God, 12, but by the time I actually got to have sex, it was probably like 12 hours long or something. So our second date, and we talked the night we met. We talked for a long, long time. I went to a cafe with her. But yeah, I was she's just remembering all this stuff, and she's asking me all these questions, possibly to see if I was going to tell any lies, or if I'd been over saying stuff that wasn't true. And I just remember, and then after I'd slept with her a few times, I went, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you know so much about me? It's just, it's crazy. And then she's just quite honest. She goes, oh, after night I met you, I went home and I pulled out my diary, and I basically stayed up all night, writing in my journal about meeting you. And I'm like, again, this is an example of what happens when you've got really good conversation, listening, open-ended question skills, and touch. It's like women who you can't believe would even go near you just get obsessed by you. Plus, I had a bit of social proof that night. So I was literally coaching a boot camp. And it wasn't exactly social proof of cool guys either. It was just whatever. So the amount of, and then I said this on a female trainer panel, I mean, Jackie goes, "Oh yeah, I do that too," and someone else, Val says, "Yeah, I do that a bit." And I think Natalia said, "Yeah, I might write some stuff down as well." So yeah, did you guys ever meet a girl and go home to your little diary and sit and write pages and pages and pages about meeting her? I'm not saying no man does, but I don't think it's the most common thing in the world. Tess, I haven't discussed it with you before, but do you have any takeaways on are you able to adjust your camera so that it's you're because there's a fair bit above you at the moment? Do you have any? You can do this for yeah, it's much better. Thank you. Do you have any takeaways about girls remembering just so much detail about you?
As in me remembering details about men.
You or your girlfriends, or any
Yeah.
examples you can share?
Yeah. Definitely. I don't journal. A lot of my friends do, and that's very common for women. So, you're if she's remembering details about you, you're very likely in the journal as well. But yeah, for me, I think it's just where your attention goes. Obviously, the fact that I said earlier, the vast majority of what we talk about is relationships, feelings, and emotions with each other. That's what we think about, right? So if we like you, you're going to be in our thoughts, and we're when we have conversations with you, we're storing information because it's part of our attraction to you, right? So we want to know about you, and so yeah, it's kind of goes hand in hand with a woman going out of her way to ask you questions and being really engaged in conversation, and then remembering all of those things. It all goes hand in hand.
Fantastic. Okay, can you talk a bit about preening, hair adjusting, clothes, necklace? Maybe give us a bit of a demonstration.
Yeah, sure. So obviously, if a woman's like a little bit nervous around you, or if she's trying to she wants to look her best when she's talking to you, or she might feel a little bit self-conscious when she's talking to you if she's interested, right? So she might start just fiddling with her hair, or doing this a lot. I do that a lot because my hair's my thing. But yeah, it might be like playing with her jewelry a little bit like this, or things like that. What else? Clothes. Oh yeah, adjusting some clothes, whatever. If she's got a handbag or whatever, playing with that a lot, and she keeps readjusting, stuff like that. It's because she's feeling conscious of how she looks in front of you, right? So that's something that's very subconscious for women as well. It does become conscious when she's trying to get attention, maybe, but if you notice little things like this in conversation, that's definitely a good sign.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this just happens the whole time. I've had several instances. I'm not that tall, but I played basketball and I hung out with my basketball team because those guys are 6'7", 6'8". One guy was 6'6", and he literally he had modeled. He could have made a career as a model, but he was an athlete. And another time when I was studying acting in New York, I became friends with literally one of the world's top male models, and just it's just a symphony of women just throwing signals out there that no guy can ever get, and some of them are subtle, but some of them are just so overt. Tess and I, our clients start working with Tess or Natalia or Val or someone on Zoom. And then once they do enough sessions, we invite them to come to a live event with us, a boot camp or a seminar. And then what happens is the guys go out in the real world, and often Tess and I are going out with our clients. And we stand there, we send them in to do approaches and all. You have to learn the skill of cold approaching. That's a core skill. But yeah, so often when we have clients and they're talking to a few people and there's a group of us and obviously an attractive girl with them, There's women just throwing themselves at them constantly, just constant, never-ending signals. Women coming and putting their backs against you, women doing all this stuff, and no guy's got a clue. And it's just, it's, as I said, it's this symphony of, they might be, adjusting their clothes, they might be playing with their earrings. There's all their hair touching, the hair flicks. When I was hanging out with that male model in New York, I remember twice, I'm not lying about this, I had to literally go to the bathroom basically crying with almost red eyes because some American woman from, I can't do a Jersey accent anymore. I used to be able to. Some American woman, because we weren't paying her attention, she'd come up beside us, she'd bang into us 2 or 3 times, and then she'd just flick her hair. It wasn't me, it was my friend. She'd just flick her hair twice in the space of a couple of months. Some girl's hair caught me in the fucking eyes, and I had to, one of the times I literally was stuck in the bathroom like, I can't see. And this stuff happens to guys all the time. When you dress quite well. I think Tess gave an example of one of our clients who's had more bad luck than you could ever imagine in the space of 18 months. He's also had to put on a bunch of weight to handle some illness. I won't get into that in too much detail. But yeah, he's saying women are just coming up to him and hitting him on it all the time, and he just holds eye contact. I think Tess revealed he's working as a bus driver now because of incredible misfortune. And girls will come up and he'll just look at them and notice a couple of their signals. They'll just sit right down beside him and he'll turn and talk to them, and then, whatever. They're seriously interested in him. So yeah, once you learn to read signals, this whole world opens up to you. The other, this is a very valuable tip I'm giving you. We see this all the time on our boot camps. So women will get together in a group of women, so there's 3 or 4 of them, and then there'll be one girl with her back to you, and she's doing what we talked about at the start, where there's the big hair flick. Then she looks at you and then looks away quick. In Europe, the girls do this somewhat sophisticated. In Australia and America, the girls maybe aren't that sophisticated, or maybe the guys are so dumb that the girls need this. And what's happening is you've got 2 or 3 girls just staring at you, studying at you, and then they go, okay, he's there. Okay, so now go, fire. And then the girl will turn around, she'll flick her hair like I described in that story with a supremely beautiful girl with the big boobs in the cafe, and then she'll look at you, then she'll look away, and then the girls will go, okay, fire number 2. Then the girl will look back and you're still looking, and then guys don't notice this. Guys don't come up. They'll go, oh, it must be her boyfriend behind me, or they'll have 20 excuses about how it's something other than the girl could. See, listen to Tess laugh. My female coaches who come out with me and coach guys in the real world, they're just like, you guys are so stupid. It's like 2 + 2 equals, oh shit, what is it? Let me get my calculator out. Just 2 is 4. Yeah, it's 4. It's like, you're just so stupid. You're just so fucking dumb. Now, I was a salesman and I saw signs in my sales career, my public speaking career. But again, it's self-sabotage or self-doubt because of the mass propaganda that we're all hopeless and useless and ugly and poor and worthless that we've been subjected to, men and women. Women have probably had it worse than us. The guys they'll have 20 reasons why some girl's not interested in them. And it's just so freaking obvious. When we work with our clients, we dress them, we teach them to read signals, we give them a few decent openers, and guys are just constantly going, oh, there's no way. There's no way knowing this girl could be interested in me. And she is. It's just so obvious. And one of the female comedians, she does quite a long bit about how they're just stalking guys around bars or around parties, and the guys have no clue. And the number of times I've seen girls come up and bang into groups of guys, and it's just because the guys were perving at them 5 minutes ago. Now the girls have come over right beside them. It's just women are tearing their hair out, getting you to speak to them. And this was true 10 or 15 years ago, but it's because of the lockdowns, what they did to social skills, and we shop from home, we work from home. We exercise from home. We watch movies and theater and comedy from home. Many of us exercise from home. It's just like women are so lonely. It's absurd. Tess, did you want to add anything to how lonely? I think you've had some. I mean, she's obviously at least a former catwalk model. She's had girls in her sort of hot hippie peer group. Most of them are very highly educated as well. Of all these women who are just in their mid 30s, they're just lonely and desperate as fuck. Do you want to talk a bit more about the loneliness of women?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's I think because for whatever reason, men are yeah, it's to do with a lot of things, but post COVID, social distancing paired with yeah, Me Too stuff. Guys are scared to approach, so it's becoming really difficult for single women when we're out and we want attention to get it. Even really, really beautiful, yeah, attractive women, high value women. Men are too intimidated, or yeah, just don't have the confidence in general in themselves to take that step. And it's hugely, hugely frustrating because, yeah, we don't want to be the ones to make the first move. So this is why we send these signals, because we want you to pick up on that and just take that first step. And most of the time, yeah, given, if a woman is really desperate, she's not going to make it too difficult for you once you do take that first step. It does, yeah, especially if you're one of the few guys who does. So yeah, just being one of those guys who does take the step is a huge bonus. But when you're also doing that really skillfully, you're doing so much of the heavy lifting just from that first, strong first impression and rapport building phase. So it's really worth knowing how to do that.
yeah, it's incredible. A few years ago, I was with a client. He was a good-looking guy, and we had a really good rapport as well. And we went to a bar in Melbourne, Australia, and it was some of the hottest girls I saw in Australia. It was the coolest bar in town at that time, and there was some girls paying a lot of attention to us, and I was just amusing myself because I was I was getting more than enough of the attention and whatever nights with women at that stage in my life, and yeah, we just there was a bunch of girls, right, intentionally moved around the bar and just sort of laughed watching them follow us. And there was one time I walked up to two girls who were like what I call tacky hot. They're like sort of Louis Vuitton girls who are all, had so much makeup and everything was stuck up and everything was tight and everything was designer label. This is before many girls had plastic surgery. Today that have had a bunch of plastic surgery, I wasn't interested in them. And then they just sort of blew me out in a slightly nasty way. I went, okay, bye-bye, I'll see you. And sometimes I go up to girls and they'll reject me. Sometimes I've gone up to girls and the conversation is struggling. I'm like, okay, well, would you prefer if I left? And sometimes girls have gone yes, and I go, okay, bye, have a good night, without caring in the world. And I've gone and talked to someone else, usually someone hotter than them. That was one of the best dating tips I've got in my life. If you get rejected, immediately just go talk to someone hotter than them. Then they'll come chase you in many cases. And yeah, it was just the girls who rejected me in a mean way, the sort of Louis Vuitton sort of tacky hot girls, they just stalked us, not for one night, but for 3 6. I did 3 boot camps in a row at this place, and he came out and was sort of my de facto approach coach or friend. And yeah, for three sad days in a row, they were at the same bar. 3 sad days in a row, they stalked us, throwing all these signals constantly, ignoring all the other guys, waiting for us to talk to them. Partially because how indifferent I was to their rejection. I'd been in New York. I got rejected by girls dramatically hotter than them. Fantastic. Tess, do you want to have a look at the comments, please, and say hi to our
Yeah.
regulars?
Yeah,
Sorry we
sure.
kept you guys waiting. It's a lot of tech stuff we're trying to integrate.
Yeah, so Jeff, Adam, hello, Peter, hello, Landon, Jeff's here again, virtual. Hi, guys. Marquito, I think that's a new guy. Welcome. Say hello, guys, if you're new. Dave as well. Hello. Who have we got? Aladdin. Oh, really nice comment from Aladdin. Hello there. Commented once before, but I really enjoy these streams. James and Tess been watching the last several weeks, usually on replay since they are rather early for me here in the States. Cheers. Thanks for saying hi, Aladdin. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we love your guys' support and your comments and your questions. That's what we're here for, to serve you. So say hi if you're new. Say hi if you're not new. Hey, Simon. Hey, Ralph. Awesome to have you guys back. Should we have a look at some of the questions, James?
Yeah, Tess, jump into some of the questions.
Awesome. So let's go from the start. Sorry, guys, just finding my place. Okay. Question from Adam. Eye contact. I have people look at me all the time, like if I'm walking down the street or I'm on a date with someone else. How do I know if they're just taking a peek or genuinely interested?
Tess, do you want to handle that one first? I'm just trying to find something.
Yeah, sure. So we talked about this earlier, but the double take is a big one. Obviously, there could be some ambiguity there if she's kind of just like glazing over, looking around and sees you and your eyes meet for a second, then she just turns away. But maybe like a bit more of a signal would be if she like looks away really quickly because she's like, oh, I don't want him to see me look. Or she does the double take. That's a big one. I guess like paired with other things as well can really help to solidify that. If she kind of you see she looks over at you, she looks away, but then she's kind of distracted, she gets her phone out and she's like doing something and she's clearly there's nothing further. That might have just been nothing. But yeah, if she, like all the things we've said, double takes, any sort of preening, any, hair flips or, looking back at you over the shoulder, the looking away really quickly, all of those things.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Most of the time, as my female coaches said, I don't want to say this is like a rule of physics or a rule of mathematics, but if a girl who's attractive is looking at you, especially if she's in any way sexually dressed, there's a pretty high chance she's interested in you for some reason. Doesn't mean she wants to go home and suck your what's it, but she's interested. The thing I keep hammering home to you guys is because of the changes in the world with technology and what happened with social distancing and the post-Harvey Weinstein era, and the red pill era, where a big chunk of guys think women and everyone in the nearly 4 billion on earth is evil. And some guys have had such horrible times with the family court system, or they know guys who've had it. So many guys, including some of the most desirable guys, have just checked out altogether. So women are more desperate than you can ever really imagine. So often it is legit. For those who are regulars, I shared 3 examples, including a couple in quite a lot of detail, about women who, one, there's no way she was 23. One told me she was 23. And the other girl, I don't know how old she was, but she was probably early 20s as well. They were showing what appeared to be extreme levels of interest in me. And I'm like, 55, I might look a few years younger than I am, and I'm certainly a bit better presented than the average American Australian guy. But seriously, what? It's just I don't understand how this is possible. I just really don't understand how this is possible. Maybe if I was still 42, easily I could certainly understand that. But I'm 55. I mean, there's been some profound changes in the world since 15, 20 years ago. Tess, do you want to hop into some more questions?
Yeah. Okay, so question from Marquitos. Rocco. um, how did the girl you were with react to this situation? So this is obviously one of your stories, James. Could have been when you
The cafe, I think.
the
Just if
cafe.
you could,
Yes, that's what
I think it's the cafe one. Again, Tess, guys want to see more of your beautiful self. So
Sorry,
is-
guys. It's my posture. I keep slinking back into this chair. I need to like put a pillow behind me or something.
can you move the
Yeah.
camera a tiny bit?
Yes, I could.
I allow for the slinking because, like, if I stand upright, I'm beheaded or decapitated at the top. So I factor the posture in.
Is that
But yeah, thank you.
okay?
You probably so the girl I was with, this is why a lot of my stories have so many points that come out of them. I had, and goes back 19, 20 years. I did a seminar in Perth, and then the guy who came to the seminar, there's no way he could afford my boot camps. He was a uni student. Then whatever, 6 years later, he does my course. And then on the boot camp, he goes, "Oh, I'll never forget that story you told me about that Swedish girl." And I'm like, "Which Swedish girl?" I traveled for 7 years. There's been quite a few of them. And he explains, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that one. It took me like a minute or something to figure out what the hell he was talking about because the story had completely left my mind. But yeah, guys and my clients get so much value out of them. One of my clients who I caught up with a while back, he's like, "Oh man, that story was so unreal, and it led me to doing X, Y, and Z." So yeah, who watched last week or the week before? Who can remember our 7 points or our 5 points? Probably no one. Who can remember one or two of the stories I told you? Probably many of you. So the girl in that situation, it's a very good story about reading signals. It's also a very good story about passing women's tests. Because again, I was really promiscuous at this stage. So I was good at this stuff. And so the ridiculous, stupendously hot girl walks past with the boobs going woo 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 woo, and then the girl I'm with is as attractive as she certainly could be one of my female coaches. You'd be better looking than a few of them, even though they're all models. But she wasn't like just completely. Never, you won't forget her for months or years. She just goes. So the girl walks past, and when she looks at me, looks back, licks her lips, hips swaying. And then the girl who used that as an opportunity to test me, she goes, "Oh my God, that girl's so beautiful, isn't she?" So, yeah, who can tell me how I handled that? This is an excellent example of how women will set little traps for you to fall into. And if you fall into them, they're not so interested in you anymore. Or if they are interested, they go, "This guy's really clueless. I can suck all his money out of him and have him come pick me up at 3 a.m. when I'm drunk and don't want to cough out for a taxi, and the dumb prick will do it." Yeah, talking of that, a bisexual girl I spent quite a few years dating. The first 3 or 4 months of our relationship, she'd spend, it's unbelievable how clueless guys are. She'd spend she'd stay till like 2 or 3 with my girlfriend and I. I realized that she wasn't confident enough to spend the night with us, because when she'd leave, she'd be so in love with both of us that she was obsessed by both of us because she was part of a 3-way couple, but she wasn't living with us. So she's often, we're going to go out somewhere, and then I'm going to have sex with her for 3-4 hours. Then she gets this guy who she was having sex with when she met us, who she continued having sex with occasionally, like once a month. This guy is her taxi service. She was 22 when I met her. This guy's her taxi service for months. And initially she said, "Oh, no, I'm not sleeping with a guy. I just sort of fool around with him." But she was. I'm not having threesomes with a girl unless I get to have sex with her. That's like torture to me. But yeah, this guy he's a lot younger than me and a lot better looking than me, he's basically her taxi service while she has threesomes with some other guy. Yeah, it's just it's like if you do fail women's tests, just that some of them just take advantage of you so savagely. Of all the YouTube lives I've done, probably one of the most valuable of all was what's it called? Harsh Truths About Women. That got our best view times ever because I told a bit from the Madame Bovary, one of the greatest novels of all time, about this woman, young, sort of redneck, bogan, low-class woman, savagely taking advantage of this suburban doctor who obviously was a rich man in those days. So yeah, so the girl tested me, and she goes that the super hot girl walks past and then licks her lips, like looks away, looks back, licks her lips, and then she goes, "Oh my God, that girl's so beautiful, isn't she?" And because I was, very sure of myself at that time, I went, yeah, she's really hot. So tell me more about the new Pilates class you started. So who can tell me what was so good about that situation? Did anyone put the answer in the questions? No guy ever gets that.
I think Peter said maybe your response was she's okay-ish. So not acknowledging how hot she was.
Oh, well,
so that
thanks
was
sorry, Tess. Thanks firstly for having the courage to answer that, Peter. I when I traveled around the country with a few models, doing seminars, that was my business model pre-COVID, because I was too scared to go on YouTube because I didn't want to be famous, or YouTube famous, whatever you call it. Very dumb mistake in hindsight, given all these guys have 500,000 or 1.2 million subscribers, and I got like 7.4 or something. So like, subscribe, ring the bell, and yeah, because if we let loose with YouTube longs, with the thousands of guys we've coached and the hundreds of guys Tess has coached, the hundreds of guys, and I don't know, thousands of sessions she's done on Zoom, we will change your life for free. Particularly guys who don't have a hell of a lot of money, or who just want to do it themselves for some crazy reason. So yeah, like, subscribe, ring the bell. So many guys just get good stuff, Slash. Yeah, so can you go back to the previous one? That's excellent,
Yeah.
Slash. Well done. Excellent work, man. Excellent work. Golf class for Slash. What did the Peter guy said?
Peter said she was okay-ish.
I'm not picking on you at all. Again, congratulations on having the courage to answer. What happened was, if you said, I said, "Oh yeah, she's really hot," and then just tuned it out of my mind and focused back on the girl, I looked at the girl's bum and said, "Oh, she's really hot," and then blah, blah, blah. But if you were in that situation, you said, "Oh, she's okay-ish," you have failed her test. She's taken advantage of a situation and put you under extreme pressure, and you've caved and lied to her. There's not a man on the face of the earth, even a gay man, who's going to look at her and go, "She's okay-ish." That is a blatant lie. That is a blatant lie. It's like Bill Clinton, "I did not have sexual relations." Sorry, my Arkansas accent needs a lot of work. It's just like the biggest lie of all time. For you to say she's okay-ish. She was staggeringly beautiful and just everything a porn movie or Hugh Hefner could want. Probably 5'10", 5'11" tall. Before she put her heels on, she was like just a walking traffic accident. Planes flew out the sky when women like that walk past. So yeah, there's no way she was okay. So you failed her test. So in the example where she wants the most confident man she can get, she's lost huge amounts of interest in you because she could easily pressure you into lying to her to avoid potentially upsetting her. But in a situation where she wanted some guy who makes good money, who she can have a relationship with, who might look nice in a suit, who earns good money, who knows how to handle himself at restaurants, who could be nice to her parents, who she can just snatch when she's over a certain age and her boobs aren't what they used to be, and she's struggling with different parts of her body to keep them in a swimsuit and be proud of herself, and things are heading south much quicker than us men deal with. I mean, some guys are stupidly hot in their 40s, even early 50s, body and everything, whereas women, it's almost impossible, just because of evolution. So yeah, when she does get past this stage, you're screwed. She's just going to turn the screws on you over and over and over again, particularly if she gets a ring on your finger, or you live with her for more than 2 years. I think that's similar in many of certainly the blue states in America. Europe's probably worse. Yeah, you're screwed. And so many guys that they complain some woman ruined their life. It's just because they settled for a girl. They failed some of her tests. She realized she could take advantage of them. Or some of the rich guys, they just go away and bang their yoga teacher and their Pilates teacher and come back and spend all your money and just torment, just drive you insane. So that's how the girl reacted to that situation. Next question, Tess.
Yeah, a question from Peter, who's asking, James, why did the attractive girl want to make your girlfriend jealous by giving you eye contact, as it was unlikely you would approach her? I don't see the motivation.
I want to cause some trouble. Women do this shit all the time. I want to cause some mischief. She just wanted to use, I mean, she might have been 19 or 20. She just wanted to use what God had given her to cause problems. Yeah. Watch any soap opera. I mean, I don't watch soap operas, but I'm guessing you can watch soap operas. She's just like, I want to have a bit of fun with this. I suppose it's just like big, strong guys bully small, little guys. She just wanted to do that. She just wanted some excitement in her day. And a lot of really beautiful women, because life is so easy and so dull for them. Like seriously, you can't even imagine. They're like kids who grow up inheriting vast sums of money and they never have to work for anything. That's what a lot of hot girls are like. That's why if you actually get one who's worth dating, it's much harder work to find a seriously beautiful girl who's actually worth dating, let alone a serious relationship, than it is to get one. I've got dozens of women in my life most guys would consider extremely beautiful. Like, if they're not models, they're bordering on it. I traveled for 7 years and basically didn't work in my 30s other than doing boot camp, so it's not that big-headed. But yeah, of those, the number I would want to date, I could probably count on date for months. I could probably count on one hand. The number I'd want to date for years, I could probably count on a few fingers. So yeah, the percentages drop down. I'm a bit snobby because I like girls who are really bright, who read literature, who've done at least a bit of travel, who are feminine, do ballet and all the other shit I'm into. Never use perfume or deodorant, and can cook me really healthy food, like grow their own veggies. That's one of my, I want a woman who can grow me veggies. Tess, do you have any hot girlfriends, particularly of Soviet ethnicity, who masturbate to Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian writer, who are naturopaths, who know how to grow a man some veggies? Fuck threesomes. I want a girl at 55 who can grow me own veggies. That's one of my. That's anyway. Anyway, you probably don't want to set me up. It won't work out well for our professional relationship.
It's a niche woman, James. That's very niche.
It is. She can have War and Peace or Anna Karenina beside the veggie patch and whatever. I really want a girl who can grow me own veggies. Yeah, I actually I literally ran away from a girl who could do that very well, because I thought I was about to fall in love with her when I had 2 girlfriends who were my head female coaches, and I knew if I was going to fall for her and I was going to tank the business. That's why I hired a bunch of Tessers, so I didn't have to do that again. Because anyway, more too much information about me. Let's just get on with things. Next question, Tess.
Okay, question from Landon. When you spotted a signal, what do you say in the first 5 seconds?
Great question. Just a bit of feedback from my regulars. No, it's not a good benchmark, because some of my stories, are probably extraordinarily valuable. Some of you may find amusing. But yeah, I've got to get feedback from guys about how to deliver the most value. I need to keep you watching, and there's a lot of insights into female psychology in my stories, particularly when they're combined with your questions. When you spotted a signal, what do you say in the first 5 seconds? Okay, this is the thing. We're giving you a bunch of signals, and this is crazy valuable. If you see one, it's a hint. It's a strong hint. But signals is like a language. If you hear Tess, if you're on a date with Tess and you hear her say the word fuck, it could mean, oh, your Christmases have come at once. Tess wants to take you to bed. It could mean she had a hair in her soup. It could mean some guy was walking past and stood on her toe and really hurt her. It could mean she's telling a story and trying to make a point very colorfully. So you don't hear the word fuck and assume she wants to fuck you. It could mean that, but you need some other signs. You need some other signals before you can get a beyond reasonable doubt, or let alone a conclusive 3 + 3 = 6 conclusion. So we're giving you a lot of very valuable signals that you really need to pay attention to. I think Tess said at the beginning, if you can just remember 2 or 3 of these and try to notice them, and then take a tiny bit of action with all the conversation training we've given you, you can change your life, because most guys are clueless. So there's no, it's not like I can give you an algorithm, which a lot of you smart guys would like, where you see her flicking her hair, so then you walk up and go, hello, my dating coach told to give you a compliment that you've got nice thick hair. You could be a model. So anyway, when you're not washing your beautiful long thick hair, what's your favorite thing to do on the weekend? There's not some algorithm where you can just spit in a James piece of code and know exactly what to do. But yeah, if you do see a girl playing with her hair like Tess just ably demonstrated, you might want to notice that, and you might want to do what our bus driver friend does. And when he sees any of these, he intentionally holds eye contact with her in a confident but not sleazy way. And then some girls, because the world's so fucked up with gender relations and technology, everything that's going on, some girls hold it back. And even in the bus driver, which isn't the highest status job, he used to have a high status job, he doesn't anymore, because of financial Armageddon that he's unfortunately been through. They all sit right beside him there on the bus. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So yeah, you notice signals. So much of it's open-ended questions, listening, etc., etc. Next question, Tess.
Yeah. Okay, another one. Lantern's asking, when I do get signals, I always assume the worst and walk away. Why do most men do this, James?
Because since 1970, society, corporations, culture have just been like beating us men down. Every year it gets worse. Every year it gets worse. Now, if any of you want to go all red pill, women have probably had it worse than us. Women have probably had it worse than us. I mean, they've got to be beautiful. They've got to have great tits after they have kids in their 30s. They've got to stay slim. They can't have any dimples or stretch marks. They've got to succeed in the corporate world. They've got to get a degree. They've got to travel Europe for a while. They've got to have flings with a few high status Italian models who own restaurants or something. I mean, women have been fucked up even worse than us. But yeah, men have just been completely fucked up. You got to, guys have this perception you've got to be rich, you got to be tall, you got to be good looking, you got to have a 6-pack abs in your 50s, which is kind of ridiculous given the sort of diet you'd have to have for most guys. You got to have a Ferrari, and most importantly, you got to have a big black thick schlong, like as thick as a Coke bottle. They don't have Coke bottles anymore. I got to update my references. What's an NBA size schlong object? Yeah, you got to have a schlong the size of one of these podcast mic things, maybe even thicker. So yeah, just we've been beaten down. I'm not going to get too far into reasons why, but it's really good for capitalism, because you work really hard to increase your social status, then you spend and you pay more taxes and send more profits to the richest, whatever 1%, through corporate profit growth and the S&P going bananas year after year. And and you work harder and you consume more aggressively and you just get more and more and more and more miserable. So yeah, it's really good for capitalism. It's really good for stock values and really good for shareholder wealth and really good for enriching the billionaires to divide and conquer men and women. There could be other reasons. There probably are other reasons why they do this. Maybe the birthright. But yeah, it's been part of our lifestyle. So yeah, it's just you've been brainwashed, man. Yeah, I mean the number of guys who do coaching with us, we talk a bit of sense into them. We give them, I mean, just a bit of skill, even just a few sessions with Tess, and they walk away. And like, there's a guy in the US who watches the replays. Watching these replays is also key. Our clients who watch these replays tend to get better results than the guys who don't. Um, um, yeah, we just need to give you 2 or 3 things, and women just start throwing themselves at you, even if you're not a particularly attractive guy. So yeah, I mean, you always assume the worst and walk away. It's just you got to have a mental change. I know when I did boxing, which a guy who literally beat the living crap out of the Commonwealth Games silver medalist. He beat him 3 times out of 2. He beat him 2 times out of 3, but he had a really bad cold when he fought for the Commonwealth Games spot, and he lost. He was a coach in the boxing gym I went to, and he said I was a pretty scary boxer on a bag. but when you put a person in front of me, I was a pretty scared human being because I think because of some problems that happened to me in my childhood. I was just terrified of being hit because I got bullied a lot and hurt badly. It could have, anyway, I won't get into it now. So yeah, it's just I had very bad inner game around fighting, even though this guy who was a champion said I had a lot of potential. I did have these pathetic little, I've got 3-degree hands. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who's got worse hands? Oh my God. Can you imagine a worse set of hands on a man? I'm going to do some pull-ups or something. It's pathetic. I've been beaten in thumb wrestles by 2 models in a row. There's Midwest farm girls who grew up, picking wheat or whatever they were picking. So they're tall, hot girls with big boobies, and they had big sort of, whatever you call it, corn picking hands. And I had these little, I've got 3-degree hands. Drive a mouse around and pick up a phone like a lot of white collar guys. So yeah, you've been brainwashed. It's good for capitalism to divide and conquer men and women and have us all insecure. Next point, Tess.
Yes. Okay. This is a question from almost 007. Okay, you've previously said some naturals still better with women, despite you probably spending more time studying, testing, teaching, and applying. What would you need to have or change to reach their level?
Are you almost 007? Are you the guy who asks questions about charisma arts? If you could just answer that. We're starting a little mastermind of guys who attend our YouTube lives regularly. We want to help get you as much results as we possibly can using the YouTube lives, and we want you to be our guinea pigs. There's no charge for it. It'll help you so much. Just answer yes or no. If you are, email. If anyone's interested in the mastermind, just put mastermind in the chat, in the comments. If you remember to do it in the replay as well. And we're going to have our first meeting quite soon. The problem with me is I had a sexual experience when I was 27. It's debatable whether it was actually proper full penetration. So I don't honestly know whether I lost my virginity at 27 or 31. But the point is I was a virginity till 31. At 35, I started as a dating coach. And I mean, I slept with a lot of girls by most guys' standards, and a lot of really high quality women in terms of highly educated women who are beautiful, or models who, some of whom are highly educated or became highly educated. But yeah, I was much more passionate about doing good for the world rather than just sleeping with as many girls as I could. I also had a bit of a fixation for Soviet women, or the occasional girl you get in New York, that I just never found, I virtually never found in Australia. So I was much more passionate about helping guys than I was actually going out and maxing out my skills. And starting age 37, I had 2 by girlfriends for years on end. So I wasn't going out sleeping with 20 or 30 girls a year like I might have done for a few years at one point. So I never pushed the skills to the limit. I mean, what would I need to change? I'd have needed to get the skill level I might have had at, say, 34. I'd have needed to have that at 24. That would have been the single biggest metric. And if I had, I may have beaten any natural I met bar one. One guy was just a god. He was African American, so yeah. Yeah, you got to give me some slack. And I just made fun of my hands. I didn't have quite Michael Jordan hands, but they were approaching it. And yeah, so I'm guessing what was between his legs was proportionate. Plus, given the skin color difference, it was probably proportionate, and then some. So yeah, I don't know. I did get really good for a time, but because I wasn't living in a place where there was a large pool of really attractive women that I was interested in, my skills atrophied relative to where they got to. Yeah, I should have done what another dating coach did and set up in Eastern Europe. I might have gone to heights that maybe no one would have potentially matched, because I'd had the most brilliant girl I've ever met in my life. I was one of the great women of my life. We might get on to some more stuff. Next one is illogical spacing. Okay, so many times you're buying groceries. This happened to me constantly, particularly once I've looked the girl up and down. And then this girl just suddenly appears to me when I'm looking for vegetables, or maybe I'm in an aisle somewhere and I'm trying to find something. A girl I've intentionally looked up and down. Again, you've got to be well presented. You don't need to be tall. You don't need to be young. You don't need to be ripped. You don't even need to be very good looking. You just need to look at this fucking haircut I've got now. It's just like I just need to do a little Adolf Hitler mustache and I'll be... The Fuhrer is furious. So yeah, I need to get a haircut. So, but I'm still getting attention even with this horrible hair. I'm a fair way from my favorite hairdresser. So I've been too busy. So yeah, you don't need to be that good looking. But anyway, I look a girl up and down, or even I don't, and I'm well presented, and yet they just show up, and it's just illogical. So another thing is, if you're at the gym or you're at a bar or you're walking the dog, and say you're at a gym, for instance, and you do 10 weight machines, and then you notice there's this girl that's quite close to you 3 times out of 10 in a big gym. That ain't coincidence, buddy. That ain't coincidence. I mean, if you toss a coin 3 times in a row, that's 50%, 25%, 12.5%. That's roughly a 10% chance that happens 3 machines in a row. And if you take it to 4, that's like a 6.25% chance, 5% chance roughly. So yeah, guys who are very smart and can do maths, they don't do basic maths and probability when it comes to women. If some event happens and a girl is there, then she could well be interested in you. You've got to start thinking analytically about women. Another huge one that's probably got me more sex, certainly more sex with women you want to have sex with multiple times than any other strategy, is if I'm sitting in a cafe or a cafe bookstore or bookstore at a library or a restaurant. And when the girl, I'm doing this intentionally, when the girl walks in, I sort of look her up and down, not in a sleazy way, just, I just do this with Tess, like, I'll take glasses off. Just look her up and down and look away. It's hard to demonstrate over Zoom. I don't know if that added much value. I'm trying to. And then she comes and, there's like 20 tables in the cafe and she's on one of the ones that's almost within arm's reach of me. It's like, that's not a coincidence. That is so not a coincidence so much of the time. This can happen if you take a train or a bus and you just look at a girl. This is such valuable stuff we're giving you. Look a girl up and down And then if she shows up beside you, there's a chance she wants you to talk to her. So yeah, this stuff happens all the time. One of the big examples, I know most guys, over 40, over 50, over 60 aren't that keen on going to bars. But yeah, so many times girls will just bump into you in a bar, or even potentially brush against you in certain situations. We say, well, how can you be that clumsy? What, are you drunk or something? Not in a bar. It's just like they want you to talk to them. They want you to talk to them. And yeah, if you ever get breast tissue against you and you're not in a mosh pit, and even if you are in a mosh pit, she's going to cover her breast tissue with her arms. She's probably very keen on you, and she's been throwing herself at you endlessly. By the time she got to rubbing breast tissue against you, I can promise you that. I've had quite a bit of breast tissue in my time as a dating coach, quite a few times from swimsuit and lingerie models, simply because I ignored signal after signal after signal because I didn't want to ruin my business. Or make the front page of the newspapers, as it would have been the case the last few years, with some bullshit claim of he fired me and then he whatever. Tess, do you want to talk more about logical spacing or timing?
Yeah, again, if it's illogical, you've got to be questioning, like, what's the reason behind it, right? So yeah, rather than thinking, oh, this is a crazy coincidence, just think twice about that, guys. Again, it's the same with her going out of her way to touch you, that sort of thing. It's like, if there's no logical reason for why she's doing it, it's probably because she's interested and she's doing it intentionally. If she's turning up really close to you constantly, or she'll constantly showing up at the same yoga class and she's always putting her mat right next to yours, there's probably a reason. Just start to be aware of these things. Don't take these things for granted, because these are your opportunities. You need to be taking them.
That's great. I mean, this is the power of having a man and a woman at the same time. I don't know if anyone else does this. No, I mean, an older man who's had more share of success with younger women, and a woman who's 35, who's a former catwalk model, who's a professional dating coach. Because Tess has prompted me to a story I think will really help you. I was going somewhat regularly to a yoga studio in New York, and there must have been a girl who was a model, not a big time model. She's a model uni student, who was at this yoga studio quite regularly. I saw her several times. She never paid any attention to me. I mean, there's a lot of hot men in New York. But anyway, one time, for whatever reason, some of the older women were paying attention to me. My usual social engineering thing. Remind me to give the definition of social engineering again after this, please, Tess. And yeah, I think I was talking to the receptionist or talking to the teacher or something. And then an older woman who was legitimately attractive starts showing interest in paying attention to me. And then this older woman's talking to me in class. And then because other women were showing interest in me, eventually this like really hot girl who was a lot younger than me, she shows interest in me. So because I was getting a bunch of attention from this is how desperate women are. One time the woman, I don't know if you should say this, it appeared she was making orgasm noises when she was warming up to try to get my attention. And that's what I think prompted this other girl to literally get up and move her mat over beside me. And then I got a closer look at her body, which was kind of nice. And she sort of looked at me. I can't remember. I think she might have smiled at me. But anyway, it wasn't overtly her throwing herself at me. It might, but it was a tiny bit overt, but not that bad. But anyway, at the end of the class, you have to lie flat for 15 minutes. It was Shivananda yoga from memory, and yeah, I just feel something touching my foot at the end of the class, and I'm like, I'm 95% sure I know what that is, and I ain't moving my foot 1 inch. Most of you nice guys out there would go, oh, I'm in the girl's space. I'm going to move my foot away. But I was a wee bit more sophisticated at this point after you sleep with a bunch of girls. And so I just kept my foot there for 15 minutes. I think it was 15 minutes, and no BS, no BS, no BS. Yeah, we did this 15 minutes, and there was the sun setting through the window in Manhattan. It was just this gorgeous moment. Um, and then I think that physical contact after this beautiful yoga class, I think you guys who are just materialists who only believe what we can measure and explain with maths and science, you guys will think I'm a wanker, some hippie wanker. But yeah, just somehow our feet touching in that environment just created this serious attraction whereby a girl, I think I tried to talk to her previously, but she really had no interest in me. She's suddenly just throwing herself at me. And anyway, I go to a cafe and I got her back to have some fun with her that night, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, again, it started from social proof and just a logical spacing or timing and touch. And if you start to pay attention to this shit, I mean, your life can just change so much. Tess, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think I touched on that one pretty well, and your story was great, James. I think you talking about that studio in New York. I think I've been there actually.
Have you really?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it the
Long time
yoga
ago.
where you do plow and headstand at the end?
I don't know. It's more the view. They used to do like really beautiful sunset classes, which were packed out, like really packed out. So, yeah, you're definitely close enough to touch other people in those classes.
Well, there you go. Okie dokie. Tess, do you want to do a few more questions? We've got a couple more points for you as well.
Yeah, a question from Landon. Am I going to get in trouble for approaching it all these days?
Okay. Those guys we coach, like Tess actually coaches, I would be astounded. Like astounded. I just don't think it's going to happen. For guys watching on YouTube, it's within the realms of possibility. You guys watching us on YouTube, learning about open-ended questions and listening and female psychology and how to read women's signals and social engineering, I think the chances are dramatically, infinitely less than if you're in your 50s and you go up and start harassing some girl when she's walking down the street, which is all over YouTube, which when I get out of Australia and away from the Australian media, I'll be doing soon, just because whatever it gets you a lot of business to do the infield stuff, particularly when you're 55 and you got a bunch of gray in your beard. It is within the realms of possibility. I'm not going to stand here and say no, because some guys are just very awkward. Some guys have autism. Some guys have been out the game for 20 years and they watch social coach videos. Then they watch what I would consider more aggressive pickup artist style videos, even though they don't call themselves pickup artist style anymore. The other thing is, if you happen to have quite a lot of money or some sort of status, that makes it much more likely. But yeah, open-ended questions, listening, watch our videos on how to touch and leave touching probably a lot later than you would pre-COVID, pre-Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't think so. So yeah, I can't look you in the eye and say, no, it's never ever going to happen. But I mean, if you don't have a lot of money and you're not an absolute sleazeball or C word, I mean, I don't think it's going to really go that far. We've been doing boot camps 20 years. 20 years. We've done a bunch in the post Harvey Weinstein situation. That's the reason we started doing Zoom dates with Tess, to make sure guys are really smooth when we get them on the boot camp and take them out in the real world. And we've never had any problems whatsoever. We did have one problem, but I can go. It's like the ugliest, worst dressed guy who was red pill, who hated women, who had an eye that looked the wrong way, who was wearing a Harley Davidson t-shirt, went up to a blue-haired feminist, and she just hated him for some reason. She's one. It's like some of the red pill guys think every single woman is evil, nasty, will leave you at the sight of a guy who's got a bit more money than you or is a bit taller than you. That they convince every woman's like that. There's a lot of feminists who are convinced every man is a rapist, or he hasn't raped yet, but he's got a penis, so he's about to any minute. One of those women. Um, so yeah, so that was the only trouble we've had in 20 years in this business. 20 years in this business. So yeah, I just don't. I think there's always a chance. I'm not going to say no, but I think it's very slim. Tess, do you want to talk after you work with guys on Zoom?
Yeah.
How is a woman? Most guys would be targeting. How once you've trained guys, the chances of that fall by 95, 98, 99%. Just talk that from your perspective.
Yeah, it's I mean, I can't think of any. I wasn't there when James was speaking about that incident, but I can't think of any incidences actually um with guys that I've trained. I think they, when you're dressed well, you're approaching confidently and charismatically. Women respond well to that. So, even if she's single, not sorry, if she's not single, or she's in a terrible mood or whatever it is, she's still, yeah, I mean, she can still reject you, of course, but, you know how to handle that situation, and you're not pushing, you're not being sleazy, you're just, it's, what we teach, it's actually genuine connection, and women really appreciate that. So it's very unlikely for a woman to just react terribly towards that. Like some women might test you a little bit in the beginning, but we also teach you how to deal with that. And yeah, or some women might just reject you for a legitimate reason, and in which case that's fine, that's totally fine. So as long as you're not like, I don't know, it just doesn't happen, because we teach guys how to deal with all these different scenarios, and to also read her signals for when it is a legitimate rejection that you can't get around, which means you just move on. So yeah, it's yeah, we just haven't seen it really.
The other thing is, we have so many guys in today's world. They go up to some girls, maybe at a bar, and they try to talk to them. And the girl goes, "Oh, listen, I'm just catching up with some girlfriends I haven't seen. I haven't seen much since high school. My girlfriend just had her second child. We're having a bit of a girls' night out. Could you possibly give us a moment?" And they're like, "Oh, I got rejected. Oh no, I'm gonna have to go on some red pill forum and bitch about women and go see my therapist." And yeah, that's what guys are like these days. It's just pathetic. It's so bad. I mean, you try to talk to a girl, she said she's busy, or yeah, a girl says she's got a boyfriend. It's like, so what? It just doesn't matter. I mean, we had a guy who was he was a decorated riot squad police officer, which I think is like the equivalent of being a Marine. He'd done some serious shit, like with bikers and stuff like this, like biker fights, and whatever, been shot at a bunch of times and all this sort of thing. And yeah, he did the boot camp. And this guy was like 6'3", and he was like a full-on fucking alpha male, just muscle on top of muscle, square jaw. And we trained him. And the better looking they are, the more masculine they are, the more richer they are, the bigger their approach anxiety. I was trying to get him to approach girls. He goes, "Man, I'd rather get shot." That was his reply to me, is, "I'd much rather be shot than go talk to that girl." I'm like, and then he backed down a bit the next day, and he goes, "Oh, well, shot in the leg." fucking tool. Anyway, he ended up becoming a crazy stud thanks to the boot camp. But yeah, me especially, when I started approaching, it wasn't like I had approach anxiety. It was like my body seized up. Big fucking concrete bricks like up to my nuts formed around my legs that weighed like 200 kilos each. I literally couldn't move. My heart would just freeze. I could not do it because of my childhood. I was going to actually do a YouTube live on this. If you have problems with women or insecurities with women, yeah, society's fucked men and women up so badly, divide and conquerors. But so many of your problems with women come down to your relationship with your mother. Men who have mothers who dominate or sort of control, even subtly control the father, they have much more trouble with women than guys who have sort of a dominant masculine in control loving father, or even just dominant masculine in control father. Men who grow up as single mothers, they have, in many cases, not all, exceptional trouble with women, even if they're the biggest alpha male on the planet by many other metrics, success, cage fighting, etc., etc. To a lesser extent, if you're quite a successful guy and you've had a really toxic relationship, that completely fucks up your future success with women. And these are some of the things we help clients work through and go, okay, not all women are like this. Yeah, she was a bitch. You know, you're unlucky there. In many cases, they might have been unlucky, but in many cases, they asked for a bitch by wooing her with their money and job and social status and holidays, but being a complete nice guy, wuss guy. And then she just decided to take advantage of him because she knew how easy it would be. And countries, large, strong people take advantage of big disparities in power. That's part of being a human. It's part of being an animal in many cases. And humans are some of the most evil animals on the planet. If you look at what we do to each other, let alone the rest of the poor critters on this planet. So anyway, we might move on to the next question, unless Tess wanted to pick up on any of those points.
No, let's move on. So let's have a look. Oh, MJ Hundy is asking, the bus driver. Obviously, money is not the motivator for the women that are paying him attention. So how does money fit into this picture? I'm inclined not to bother if it's a determinant.
Just explain your situation. Do you not have much money, or are you just curious? Women want confident men. Okay, this is probably a great question. Do I need to have money to be successful with women? Women want... Okay. How am I going to handle this? Do I need to have money to be successful with women? Women don't want to pick up and go out and approach men. They don't want to have any part in the approaching seduction process. Given how pathetic the men in the West have become because of whatever, a giant psyop propaganda just bashing us down, most men either never do anything to approach or flirt with or seduce women, or they do it with stupid pickup artist stuff or in such a weird beta male nice guy way that it's terrible. So we're in a situation now where women are basically approaching men, and what women have done since the beginning of time is they've approached men in very subtle ways so that you think you played a part in the seduction, but it was really her. So in a situation where women are taking charge of courtship and actually meeting the men they want, who are they going to go after? The short, ugly, poor ones or the tall, handsome, rich ones? Answer that. If you develop skills with women, you do some sessions with Tess, maybe you do a live event with us, are you going to start by going after the ugly, stupid, wretched, disgusting, overweight women, or are you going to go after beautiful ones? So when women are left to their own devices to go out and take charge of the courting mating process, they're going to go after tall, rich, handsome men. It's obvious. Why would they not? They'd be insane not to. But when I look back on my life at the guys I've met who are the most insanely skilled with women I've come across, far more than any dating coach I've ever met in more than a dozen cases. I got 7 years of world travel, often from cultures like Brazil or Israel or, the southern parts of Europe, and dare I say, African Americans, Latinos as well, who are just dramatically better than those lame white guys and Asian guys, particularly the highly educated ones. Yeah, it's just like guys who have skill get whatever they want. You don't need to be good looking. You don't need to have money. In terms of the guys I've learned to get better with women off, the guys I learned, most of them had zero money. They were too busy hanging out in bars, playing music, DJing, dealing narcotics, just doing whatever they were doing to actually get better with women. That they weren't getting multiple degrees and working in hedge funds or cutting people's brains open and operating, or even working in an office, pushing a mouse around and going to meetings. They were very poor people, very low socioeconomic, but they were extremely confident and skilled with women. But barmen, guys picking up glasses in hotels. I mean, the number of guys I met who literally scrubbed toilets in hostels, who were insanely good with women, far better. And these guys had far more knowledge than a lot of the stuff you see on YouTube. Tess, did you want to? Okay, I should just fill in a bit about the bus driver. The guy's lost a lot of money, but he's a very confident man in himself. He's like a very strong man, even though because of some incredible misfortune, he's not in the best physical shape at the moment, to put it mildly. So there might be a hint of that. He's a proper man. But yeah, he's just doing what Tess has taught him and what I've taught him, and he's despite setbacks in life in the last 18 months, it would have a percentage of men slitting their wrists or grabbing nooses and jumping off buildings or something. He's crazy optimistic about life because he's finally got what he wanted most, the skills to succeed with women, after succeeding in many other areas of life prior to that, but not women. He's had a lot of crazies, this guy. Tess, do you want to comment about? I mean, I'll just use Tess as an example. I had dinner with Tess and my head approach coach, and she just picks me up and she goes, "James, not all women want to date hedge fund guys and surgeons. You understand that, don't you?" And then she starts scolding me for having this assumption. And then she explained, and as soon as she started explaining, I realized it's like, oh, well, they book a camping trip. The guy cancels the last minute. She has kids with a guy. She's basically being a mother on her own. Maybe she's got a nanny to support her. The guy's flying around in meetings and he's stressed and his company's falling to pieces and he's got tax problems. He's dealing with lawyers. The other big problem about high value men is when they're in their 30s and even their 40s, they're too busy fucking everything that moves to actually commit to one woman. So, Tess, you want to talk a bit about how you're, being a model and living in New York when you were young, you're actually repulsed by the super super wealthy, high status guys. You're like, no, I don't want them because I can't surf very well. For other reasons as well.
Yeah. Yes, I think the repulsion for me is probably just ties into a few other character traits as well, like guys who are just solely focused on money. It's lifestyle factors that don't, not ticking boxes for what I'm looking for, but also just value systems as well. Like for me, superficial things or just money for the sake of money is not worth much to me. So I'm not gonna lie, like obviously money is a motivator for some women, and everyone knows about gold diggers, but that's not a huge percentage of women. It's not like more women are gold diggers than not. It's like what guys I think confuse is it's more about having direction and having focus and having, just being stable, like financially stable is what most women are looking for as, a box to be ticked. And that just might mean that, you're not addicted to gambling or, just in a lot of debt or just completely irresponsible with money. It means that, you just, you can handle yourself. You've got, you've got direction. You've got, like a steady job, or at least the ability to make money. That is much more of a motivator for women than just money itself, right? So yeah, I don't know why so many guys are caught up on the money thing. It's really like it's nowhere near as big a thing as you think. The thing is as well, like what gets women hooked to you, it's not the fact that, you've got a big wallet. It's, for guys with a lot of money who are getting women attracted, it is either that they're just attracting gold diggers because that's what they're selling. They're selling that they're the rich guy who's going to pay for everything and whatever. He's basically looking for gold diggers. Or it's that wealth gives him access to whatever life experiences, or also makes him feel confident in himself, which comes across as quite charismatic to women, right? And that's how they're attracting women. So it's not just the big wallet, right? It's maybe some other things that go hand in hand with that, that are actually the more attractive thing to the women, right? So if you have those attractive things and you don't have the big wallet, then you're going to be doing well with women, right? And as I said, like obviously some sense of stability, financial stability, or at least responsibility around money is probably the biggest thing, rather than just having money.
That's great, Tess. Thanks. I mean, the women don't want you to be poor on the bones of your ass living in your mum's basement. Let's be serious about that. But as long as, you can pay your bills and you can put food on the table and you got a little bit of income left to do stuff, you'd be astounded how many women it's not that big a driver for. A girl I met in New York, this is a long, long time ago. She was a beautiful Swedish girl and she came from a wealthy family, and she was really keen on me. And then I told her I worked in finance and blah, 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 blah. And she was so turned off by this. And like, I was like almost offended. Oh, I used to work in finance. I might have talked about myself a bit much at this stage. This is a bit early on in my journey. And then she explained to me in detail how she never saw her father. And he's like a complete stranger to her. And but he was a very successful guy and he gave her this incredibly privileged life. But she never saw him. She never had a relationship with him. One of my female coaches, one of her biggest sticking point thing she needs to sort out in life is she's got so much resentment to her uber rich, successful father because he left his first wife and married another wife, and she rarely got to see him, and it completely broke her heart. And so it's like, this idea that the red pill guys put in your mind that every single woman is like hardcore hypergamous. Most guys didn't know what that word meant 10 years ago. It's not completely untrue, but if you think every woman's walking around just after the richest guy she can get, I mean, you're smoking drugs. It's just so not the case. And there's a lot of Tessas who may be former models who they don't want the super successful guy because he's going to be a shit father. He's going to be a shit partner. He's going to be a shit husband. And I mean, Tess said guys who are money obsessed. If you're going to get a lot of money, you're probably going to be money obsessed, at least for a time. And when you are making money, there's a lot of stress that goes with it. So thanks for Thanks for sharing that. That's a great point. But again, we're not saying you can be broke and living in your mum's basement, playing video games all day, and get some wonderful woman. The other thing we've got to just comment briefly, you need to look at the city you live in. Now, if a girl grows up in Manhattan, she may want a guy who can give her the life she grew up in. So in like New York, Manhattan, maybe the eastern suburbs of Sydney, the women who grew up there, they can have higher expectations of what a man's worth or what a man earns than a girl who grew up in a lesser suburb or lesser location. So there is that bias there. But I don't think that's gold diggers. I just think I just want the life my mum and dad gave me. So, yeah, but when you start dating a bunch of these girls from the elite private schools, you realize some of them are a wee bit wacko. Even though a lot of them are very beautiful and intelligent, and some of them are quite worldly. So not all of them, but yeah, a few, quite a few. Okay, next question.
Yes. Okay. This is a comment from James. I think approach anxiety and the fear of getting shot down and humiliated would stop a lot of guys from taking the initiative to talk to girls, especially hot ones.
20 years of dating coaching, thousands of approaches, me being forced every single night. I mean, 100, I don't know how many boot camps, 150 boot camps or something, 300 times I've had to do the first approach in front of, early on 5 or 10 students, these days 15 or 18 students, and a bunch of my female coaches sometimes, and 1 or 2 of my female coaches. I need to go in and find the first approach and do it. How many nasty rejections have I had in that whole 20 years? Can anyone guess? One. I can barely remember the rest of them. I wish I could. And every time I get rejected, it's like, oh shit, I got the spatial distancing wrong, or I didn't read the signals right, or I didn't listen very well, or every time I get rejected, it's like, oh, I learned something. There was one other approach that didn't go very well. That was when I think I was in LA or New York. I can't remember, to be honest. And there was several other dating boot camps going on, and they were the weird ones, some of the famous ones. And I walked up to a girl. It was an obvious approach. She was one of the most attractive girls, and she was sitting in the corner. And I walked up to her, and she just goes, I can't remember exactly what happened. I think I shook her hand, and she shook my hand. She goes, James, thanks for coming over, but could you please leave me alone? Guys have been bothering me all night long. And there was a lot of anger and angst behind it. And that knocked me a little bit, nowhere near as much as this one I had in Montreal. Those girls were just nasty, nasty people. And there was that one. I can't remember another bad approach. I remember one. Oh, no, I don't know if I should tell you this. Well, one girl squeezed my nipple extremely hard. She must have been a rock climber or something. But that was because I approached 2 girls. She must have liked me. And then one of the girls was, a Russian girl with an insanely good body, not the greatest face, but insanely good body. And then when I thought the other girl was out of earshot talking to a male friend, I just turned to Russian and go, do you find most Australian girls stupid? Most Australians stupid. And then she comes and grabs my nipple and attacks me. This is what happens when you're a super confident guy. I didn't get rejected in a mean way. She thought probably after a few drinks that I called her stupid after she threw a lot of interest at me. I shouldn't have told you this story linked to this question. I really screwed up there. Editor! We don't have an editor yet who cuts these up properly for me. I'm in the process of hiring one. But yeah, that did happen to me on a boot camp. That had nothing to do with me being rejected for doing a bad approach. That admitted. The other thing is, women, they can be involved in one conversation intensively and still listen to that conversation, be part of it. And then they've got this little ability to fucking eavesdrop on other conversations. We can't do that shit. We can just lift heavy things and set a mission and just go after it and not stop at anything. But yeah, women have all these fucking superpowers. If you ever can't find something in a closet, Ask a woman. It's like, there it is, you stupid old fucking man. Yeah. When I don't have a girl around and I lose shit in closets, I get really frustrated. Apple or some AI guy needs to come up with Girl Eyes, the Girl Eyes app, where it's like, oh, I've lost me blue socks. Can you find them in the cupboard for me? And some pretty girl comes up and goes, they're over there. I'm looking with girl eyes. So anyway, Tess, sorry about this. So yeah, I've been doing this 20 years and I've had one really bad one and one sort of bad one. 20 freaking years. And I'm under so much pressure when I start boot camps. But again, we're not running up doing pickup artist stuff, or we do get guys to harass women in the street to some of the guys who are at that level. We do get guys to do that simply to help them get over their approach anxiety, because that's a really good tool for that. And I'm all for it as an approach anxiety beating tool. I'm not for it at all in terms of getting high quality women into your life in any sort of time efficient way. And there's a higher risk in the Western countries of actually getting in trouble if you're doing that sort of street harassment thing. There's a guy in Glasgow in Scotland. I've been attacked for my poor Scottish accent by a guy who became a client. A guy literally went to jail for doing the sort of aggressive pickup artist stuff. You guys don't need to think about that because we're teaching you open-ended questions and listening and reading signals. Next question, Tess.
I just want to add to this sort of quickly. Yeah.
Sorry, Tess.
No, that's okay. I mean, obviously, guys, so the fear of getting rejected or being humiliated, like what's humiliating about going and speaking to a woman and it not going well? Is it, I think, first of all, that mindset of just assuming that it's going to go bad is definitely not going to be working in your favor. So you do not, like, you want to escape that if possible. But, that's why also when you've done some training and you understand what you're doing, that really dissolves because we've practiced this over and over again. You know how to handle different scenarios. So it actually becomes fun. It becomes fun. And that fear of rejection or that anxiety around talking to someone goes away. And especially when, you've also removed yourself from the outcome of that. So going up and talking to a woman, if she's rude to you and shoots you down and tries to humiliate you, like, why would that actually be embarrassing for you? It's like, wow, I just went and tried to have an interaction with someone and they were totally rude. Like, she's obviously a bitch. So that's her problem. It's not anything that you should take on board, right? So I don't see why it's so scary. You can just walk away like, wow, thank God I didn't have to keep talking to that woman. She's not a nice person. Why would you want to talk to someone like that anyway? So what do you have to lose? Getting out there and having fun with it and having that, switching that mindset around that is really can do wonders. So please don't be scared to speak to women. Like, we're not all just going to bite your head off. And if she tries to, you can practice with me and learn how to deal with that. And it becomes like a fun little game. And most of the time she can't win. So yeah.
Tess is, I get this wrong. Tess is the boss. Let me see. Tess is the boss of a bunch of that's what it's like. Tess, the catwalk model, is the boss of a bunch of girls who do our Zoom calls and do our boot camps, and these are some incredible results we get for clients. So yeah, we're gonna have a short message from our sponsor, and our sponsor is Tess from Social Coach. So if you're worried about growing old and going grey and being all alone in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, or much worse, settling for an okay woman and she gets really dull and boring and on you, or worse, goes crazy Amber Heard toxic. If you've been out of dating for a fair while and your confidence is down, if you're sick to death of going on dating apps, is it swiping left? Is that what you do, or right?
I don't know.
Someone tell us that left or right. I've never been on a dating app in my life. Bars. If you're sick to death of that, if you've got approach anxiety like many of you, you're scared of rejection. If you're a busy guy who doesn't have much time left to invest in improving your dating skills and going out and meeting a bunch of girls, you can eventually find a good one. Or maybe like a lot of guys, 40s, 50s, and 60s, you're not that attracted to women in your own age, and you think you're sort of in stalemate or checkmate, you got to date them, then you should seriously consider a dating diagnosis with Tess. So we're going to find out what's really holding you back with women. You will guarantee this will be the most valuable 45 minutes of your life to transform your dating and sex life and attract your dream girlfriend in record time. I mean, your dream girlfriend might take 2 or 3 months, but getting girls way beyond what you ever dreamed possible, particularly at this stage in life, like in weeks, if not a month. So you'll go on a real 45-minute date and you'll get to practice a bunch of approaches with Tess, and you'll get a no BS analysis of your key sticking points, dating and approaching skills, and she'll send you a written action plan within 24 hours, and she's pretty bloody good at this. So we can change your life on Zoom. I've literally been doing this for 20 freaking years, 2006. You can see me looking a lot younger with a bad haircut and even worse jeans than a bunch of my early clients. That was a good looking bunch for some reason. And I can tell you, stud, like most of my clients. That's some of the girls you get to work with. These are our events. We've done, as I say, way over 100 of them. I should find some way to count them up. That's some of the stuff you can do on the events. So the process, number one, you tell us your life history with women so we understand you're a toxic woman, your mother dominated you, or you grew up in a single parent household. Tell us what your goals are in 3 months, because we want to get it for you if you decide you love it, you want to work together. What do you need help with? What do you need help with? What do you think are your key sticking points? I guarantee you'll be wrong. What's really holding you back, you've probably got no idea about. You do the dating role plays. You'll do the practice approaching. You'll get essentially one-on-one private coaching. If you book that on our website, even pre-COVID, that costs $15,000 for a day, whereas we give it away on Zoom much, much cheaper, because I don't have to get the girls to come into the city for 8 hours on this particular day. They can do it, book times that suit them. So you get our best coaches for a crazy discount. You get personalized expert tips, coaching, conversation starters, wherever your hobbies and interests are, wherever you want to meet women, you get bespoke advice around that. We'll answer any of your questions, and you have the written step-by-step plan within 24 hours. So catwalk model, transformed this guy's life completely. 52 years old, toxic, horrendously toxic marriage that went down. I think it took, I remember, it was 5 or 7 years. Goes out, killer. Admittedly, he was a great student on the boot camp, dating and very happily dating a 24-year-old yoga teacher 3 months later, and he was 52. Gave us a wonderful video testimony. I still haven't got around to editing. So if you're watching the replay, there'll be a link in the comments and in the description. Just click on that. You should see a bunch of times. What happens is you just put your email in like this, name, email name. We'll ask you a few questions, occupation, just describe your life briefly. And then you'll click on a button like this. You'll see a little blue thing. You got to click on that if you're a silly old freak like me. And then, this will be what you will look like for 45 hours. You'll get this expert coach with you on Zoom. And I guarantee it'll be the most powerful 45 minutes of your life at improving your success and the quality of women you get to spend your life with if you do a half-assed job of just implementing Tess's number one thing. Okie dokie. Anyone who has had sessions with Tess who's watching in the chat, say something nice. Say something nice, because I know she's had a big impact on a bunch of you guys. And if any of you can remember to do that on the video when it goes live, we might even give you an extra session, because that matters more than just about anything, because YouTube loves comments on the live video. Okie dokie, let's get on to our next point. let's adjust the screen back. Okay, laughs, giggles, big movements. Tess, I suspect the guys are going to enjoy a demonstration of this from you, a wee bit more than a demonstration from me. So I'm going to ask for you to do cute guy beside you and cute group of guys. You happen to be single and you want to get some attention from these dumbass American Australian guys who are
Okay.
thick as a plank when it comes to reading women's signals.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit awkward doing this to myself in the camera, but I hope that was a bit of something. So yeah, what I did was like a bit of a double take, big like hair movement, leaning forward, smiling, yeah, things like that. Obviously, if I'm with a group of people as well, laughing really loudly, which gets attention, speaking loudly, big gestures when I'm talking, stuff like that.
Fantastic. I think I shared the example earlier on of how she might be in a group of girls and the girls are looking at you or looking at your group. And the girl who likes you, she's like giving the hair flicks over her shoulder, trying to get you fucking stupid American, Australian, Canadian, Dutch, German, Swedish, Norwegian, South African guys to actually notice and do something. So yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, I've got so many examples of this, I don't even know where to start. Oh, one of the ways I get guys laid on my boot camps is where I see this, and I'll pick up all these signals, Tess would as well, and we actually notice this, and we go, okay, approach that group. I can tell you right now, that girl with her back to you is keen on you. So you want to say there's 4 girls in the group. You want to build a little connection with those 4 girls, but the one with her back to you is most likely the one who's noticed you and is probably single. She could be out with a bunch of girls who are married or have boyfriends, and they're out with their single friend or one of their single friends. And part of the reason they've gone out is to get their girl a man. So it's like a team effort. It's like guys playing football or European football, what we call soccer, or basketball or rugby, whatever your football code is together. They're working as a team to get their girl hooked up. So yeah, I'll often send guys in and I'll tell them exactly what they should say and what they should do. And so often the guys are getting laid. And if you can do this on seated approaches, my God, it's crack. Like so many times. And I tell guys on boot camps, please do not go have sex with a girl on the boot camp because you're going to come in late. You're going to miss all these girls I'm paying all this money to coach you in the morning. But yeah, guys still do it quite often. So we had a guy get laid on the last boot camp, and he came in late and he missed a bunch of stuff. So yeah. Anything you want to add? Like, again, I don't know the name of the comedian, but there's a female stand-up comedian who does a whole bit about just how completely hopeless American guys are and how much energy and how much shoe leather women go through trying to get guys to just notice them and talk to them. And so often when I'm on a boot camp, I'll see guys staring at girls like, oh my God, you see the legs or the bum on that? Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Then that same girl comes and stands right behind them and bangs into them, or she's a few meters away and she's darting eyes over. It's, oh, she's, don't know if she's interested in me, or maybe after I finish my beer. Just yeah, I mean, us Western men are just so fucking pathetic. And yeah, it's been a decades-long psyop to get us here. Don't feel bad about it yourself. But Social Coach will save you. We do. We save you very, very well. Okay, let's get back to questions, Tess.
No worries. Okay, so So, question from Sean Maloney. Welcome. Hey guys, if you have a bit of tism like me, how can you change your awareness with women? What James is saying. Not much money could be your sense of humor.
Okay, I have to be very careful when I answer questions about autism because I don't know where you are on the spectrum. Like I have pretty pronounced noise sensitivity and a degree of light sensitivity, so I'm unambiguously autistic, but I'm probably not as affected at the reading signals thing. So so yeah, I've got to be very careful. We've coached, I don't say hundreds, dozens and dozens of guys who are autistic. I mean, we coach a lot of guys who are programmers and quite a few Silicon Valley guys and software engineers and CS degrees galore. Guys who are doing some hard, coached a few AI engineers. So, I mean, yeah, autism, what you call it? Ah, stressing out about tech too much. What's Elon Musk got? Asperger's. All this stuff is just commonplace in so many of the most successful men in the world. I dare say Mr. Zuckerberg might have a wee bit. I mean, Bill Gates, most of the tech guys have. So yeah, I can't comment on you unless I've actually seen you interact with do seen you with women, because there are some autistic guys who are extreme, and it's going to be very very hard for them. But yeah, we've had tremendous success with a lot of guys who are autistic. What one guy in Perth comes to mind. So I just found out recently he was a liar. He was a liar. He was married. Um, he Yeah, he had 3 girls on the go at once. It wasn't so much the number, it was just how freaking hot these girls were. And this guy was quite obviously autistic. You meet him for, a few minutes, you're like, this guy's probably autistic. Um, so yeah, I can't answer that with any degree of certainty without, misleading you. If you've got any specific instances or you can give us any more background, then we can probably help you a bit more. Tess, you want to get to the next question, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay, question from Slash. Welcome, Slash. How do you spot women that would be considered toxic?
If a guy uses his money to attract her and she responds very positively, that's one of the biggest signs of all. A friend of mine who is very successful in finance, I was talking him up. No, I wasn't. I didn't know how to do that at the time. Anyway, it came out he was the most successful financial advisor in the state. And this girl literally swapped groups and quite overtly goes, "Oh, I want to meet him." And she met him. And lo and behold, a week or so later, she spent the night at his house. And lo and behold, a year or two later, she married him. And lo and behold, 5 or 6 years later, they had a very nasty divorce that involved a lot of money and their child. So yeah, that's one of the big ones. If they constantly respond to money, I've got to be very careful answering this. It's hard. If they're very manipulative, some girls are just manipulative because they're insecure. Some girls are manipulative because they want to play games. Tess, do you have any insights into? I mean, I wouldn't imagine you've got too many toxic friends. You may have one or two. Just share your insights into how would a woman spot a toxic woman? What are the red flags you'd look for?
Yeah, anything that's really controlling, manipulative, absolutely. Things like not allowing you to like spend time with your friends or other women, trying to control your life like that, trying to be the only woman in your life, that sort of thing. Yeah, being like really insecure about a lot of things. Yeah, and sometimes that comes from like trauma or whatever, but that can also be like a little bit of a red flag for going toxic, let's say. It can, yeah, I think a lot of that does stem from insecurities in some way, but yeah, the need for control. Yeah, the money thing can, yeah, gold diggers also, yeah, like what James said. I think that one, just being really superficial and having, if you get the inkling that the connection is not based on anything that's intangible, then it's yeah, that's definitely a bit of a red flag for, yeah, I mean, that's more like gold digger, but yeah, that can go hand in hand with toxicity as well. Yeah, I guess it's hard here as well because there are a percentage of women who you guys might think have turned toxic because they're a toxic woman, but it's actually due to the mechanism of your relationship breaking down, and like you probably have some a role in that toxicity of the woman as well, and it's due to you guys not communicating well over time, or you becoming so unreliable that she's like, yeah, just really frustrated and can't trust you anymore, or something like that. So there are lots of factors to this, but women who are who I would consider to be a toxic woman and it not be a mechanism of just the relationship or the context. Yeah, I guess like the control and the insecurity would probably be the biggest ones for me.
Thanks, Tess. When I think about it, constantly lying, constantly putting you down,
Yeah.
constantly arguing with you. If she's got friends who are clearly toxic, if she's got friends who are very controlling of the men they're with, women who tend to pursue wealthy men, they're some of the big things.
I've just thought of another one as well.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I think also women who can't accept fault in themselves, like they blame other people for things that have gone wrong in their lives, or that when in a situation, rather than be like, oh yeah, I made a mistake, that was my bad, whatever, they're just like, oh yeah, that person was whatever, it's always someone else's fault, or it's they can't take ownership for any of their problems, or yeah, or things that have gone wrong, or mistakes. Yeah.
I'm going to disappoint a lot of you guys, but a lot of quite toxic women are very good in bed. How do I say this? In some cases, it could be because very unpleasant things happened to them young in life and they got sexualized early, and the trauma really affected their brain, and they're incredibly insecure and they're damaged and broken. And yeah, just they're very sexual, but they're not long-term material. I've had quite a few toxic women, but I bailed out very, very quickly. I had a girl who was lovely at the start, but went really super toxic on me. Unfortunately, I got her involved in my business too much to the point where I was very, very vulnerable because of that. But yeah, I mean, she told me quite a number of lies when I first met her. And yeah, just constant criticism. But yeah, again, I can see where I played a role. I mean, she'd have gone toxic anyway, but I can see where I played a role in that, because a lot of guys, particularly guys who are quite driven and successful, they get a girl, they're like, oh, I got a girl, I'm gonna bang her, like in my case, 20 hours a week, and whatever. And then you get caught up in your mission or your problems or your business or your hobbies, and then she's like, well, where's all the attention gone? I was the center of your world for a month or something. What's happened? So yeah, and they can definitely go toxic on you. That's probably, we need to do a good session on that. That's a great question. We might I've got to find some catchy headline to do that one. Let's get to the next question, Tess. Please.
Yes.
Sounded rude.
let's have a look. Oh, we've got a bunch of people who've commented mastermind, James. Whole bunch. So thanks, guys.
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, wow. That works very well.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for doing that, guys. So let me try and find some.
Oh, here's one I love. Where are we?
Go ahead.
Huh? How do you deal with demanding nature of Russian women in beginning phase of dating? With great difficulties. Stupid Australian mans or American mans should not mess with well brought up elite women from St. Petersburg, Moscow. It's like I don't know, like putting your fucking testicles in a vice. They're difficult. They're very, very difficult. I've had 2 Russian women who were exceptionally difficult in the initial stages. Like way beyond anyone else, no matter how beautiful a model is who is American or whatever, another country, even Western European. French girls can be pretty problematic in terms of games, but nobody beats Russian. Nobody beats Russian. Again, in their defense, their mother, certainly their grandmother, their great-grandmother, their great-great-grandmother went through the Bolshevik Revolution, Lenin, Stalin, the gulags, the fall of the Berlin Wall, I think that was 1988, and then just a decade of insane poverty and crime that was worse than communism. So yes, unlike American women, or especially Australian, Canadian, where we've had no problems ever in our country, we don't know what hardship is. I mean, obviously people are sexually abused and there's kids who are in horribly abusive situations. But yeah, it's not like we're growing up on the Gaza Strip or something in the privileged English-speaking or even European countries. So yeah, that a Russian woman is almost bred into her DNA. I know that's impossible, but she's certainly bred to want a proper, strong man. One of the great lines from one of our advanced events we did for our students was, what is it? Man needs to be somewhat more handsome than monkey. That is enough. What use is handsome man? I need mans. I need real mans who protect me, who go make a life. So how do you deal with the demanding nature of Russian women in the beginning phase of dating? You've just got to master women's tests. And I think that's where so much of my skills around women's tests come from. I just had to get these girls and to keep them happy. Because when I do one of my events, so many of my stories about women's tests come from Russian women because they were just such hard asses. And without going into too much detail, they're a lot smarter than pretty much any other nationality. I can go into the background of it. If anyone wants to know why Russian women and Russian people are so much smarter than nearly anyone else, I can tell you. But it's not going to help you get laid. It might scare quite a few of you guys off. Okie dokie, next question.
Okay. Yeah, question from Aladdin. Welcome, Aladdin. I think confidence and genuine good vibes are key on approach. If you approach like that and even get rejected, it probably won't be harsh if you're simply genuine, pleasant and nice.
That's great. Confidence, generally good vibes, open-ended questions, not doing anything sleazy, not approaching her with any sort of sexual intent, just being friendly. Once you get more advanced, you can start approaching with sexual intent in some cases. But if you pull all that shit together, yeah, you just, I mean, I told you one really bad approach in 20 years, and that was really bad. And then one that I remember, other than that, I can't remember any bad approaches. I've only been rejected a bunch, but they just water off a duck's back. It just meant nothing to me. And most of the time I get rejected, I usually learn. I've been rejected a lot because on boot camps, I don't so much walk up and talk to girls. I do at the start, but I don't like doing that because it's harder to sleep with them. But yeah, what I do when I'm coaching boot camps is I just stand with my clients, particularly if there's any sort of quite desirable ones and I've got a good connection with them. I just stand and talk to them. Then I'll see a girl walk past. I go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm James." I just jump out in front of her and then ask her a few questions, build a bit of a connection, I'll introduce her to my clients. And I get laid a lot more doing that than I do just going up talking to girls, as crazy as it sounds. This isn't something you people in YouTube should go out and practice. You might end up getting in trouble. I've been doing this a long time. But yeah, I mean, I've been rejected a lot. It's just like, no, some weird old guy. But yeah, it's more fun for me. And anyway, my rationale is if I go out and actually walk up and chase a girl and hunt her down, not so much to pick up artists in the street stuff, just even walking up to a girl at a bar, I'm displaying so much interest. Whereas if a girl just walks past and I go, hey, come talk to me, women think I'm supremely confident. And the thing is, I've just stopped girls and some of them reject me, but I might do this a dozen times whenever a really attractive girl walks past, or even just a sort of attractive girl, just to introduce my clients to them. And then other girls see me and they start hanging around and go, "This is the most freaking confident man I've seen in a Sydney or a New York bar in a long, 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 long time." And yeah, when I did spend a lot of time after I finished with my clients taking girls home and getting me leg over, that was one of my favorite tricks to actually get a girl from a bar, much more successful than actually cold approaching. It is cold approach, but it's like a lazy cold approach. So yeah, I think what like, I've got to keep a list. You guys have no idea what to watch. I'm serious. I come up with some sexy headline in my learning how to be a proper YouTuber, which I'm a long way from. And you guys tune in and grows like nearly 20,000 of you. But we'll do something about, what is it? Questions to ask women or something. And none of you even watch. There's one I did many years ago called 4 Social Skills to Get Girls, which I'll probably take down because the production's terrible. But none of you watched it. And like, then one of my favorite clients said, "Wow, that's your best one ever." I should. And there was what other thing? Anyway, I'll keep for next time. I'll give you a list of the super valuable ones none of you guys watched. Tess, did you, as a former catwalk model, now dating coach, can you give your 2 cents worth on that while I go have a whiz? As they say in potentially the greatest American movie of the 90s, that's a little more information than I need, Vince, but you go right ahead. Can anyone tell me who said that? What actress, in what movie, and who was the director, and who was the screenwriter, and who was the star those words were directed to? I'll give you the answer when I'm back from me whiz.
Okay. Yeah, no, what James was saying, about conversation. It's interesting that I think a lot of guys, maybe who haven't done any of this, the training with us, or they focus more on the initial interaction, the approach anxiety, like the first question, right? But once a woman's speaking to you, what happens next? And a lot of guys don't see the value in that. Like seemingly so, because every time we have content around conversation, it doesn't seem to be as popular as other things. Because good conversation seems simple and is, I guess, comes across kind of boring. So it doesn't sell, but it is the key to making an impression, a strong first impression with a woman. Sorry, the first impression is a lot more to do with body language, etc. But the early rapport building stage is very much centered around conversation. It is so important. But yeah, going back to your question, Aladdin, thanks for your awesome comment before, and your involvement tonight. We love welcoming new people. So, and I can see a couple of other new people as well. So we really appreciate you. So yeah, obviously, yeah, confidence, genuine good vibes, and yeah, absolutely key on approach. The thing is, if you do have genuinely good vibes, positivity, you're just being friendly, you're not being sleazy or using any weird pickup lines or doing anything creepy, most likely women will just respond well to that. And if they don't, because they're trying to test you for whatever reason, and then you just continue to be friendly, often that will really diffuse them quickly, because it makes her feel like a bitch when she's not, when she's being that, and you're just being friendly and genuine and warm. She's like, oh wow, that guy was just really polite and friendly, and I was the bitch. So that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good for a woman. So yes, most of the time, yeah, you'll either be met with warmth back, or yeah, the rejection won't be like a harsh, horrible one. It's when you start being fake and putting on some weird persona and yeah, being sleazy or trying to neg or something, and she's just like, oh my god, I don't want to deal with this, like, go away. And that's when she'll be really harsh. Yeah, it's much more likely for her to react harshly to that than to you being genuinely nice. So yeah.
You do. I mean, just to give you some context, you do get the odd woman, and there's so few who are just harsh to guys, and they're often just really damaged people. You will also get instances where there's a bunch of wacky pickup artist dudes just running around annoying women. And we've had boot camps where some other stupid company started up in where we go, and then our clients had a lot more difficulty with them doing their crazy, stupid pickup artist stuff or weird stuff. Sometimes it worked for us because those guys were so bad that our clients had a really good run. This goes back maybe 18 years. One of my favorite clients early on, he ended up dating, he was a half Chinese, 5'8" guy who'd had a horrific childhood, just like so abusive, such a fucked up family. And he'd turned out perfectly. It was incredible. And I mean, he wasn't making much money. He was some sort of low-level blue-collar guy, but he was a wonderful person. And after sleeping with a bunch of girls, he ended up dating a society girl who was, definitely beautiful enough to be a model, but she didn't want to model. She might not have been stick thin enough, but she was a big-breasted, more of a Playboy girl than a catwalk model girl. And yeah, I mean, she went to an extremely elite private school, and she had a girlfriend who was still a virgin when she was 26. And whenever the group of girls from school went out together, any guys who had come up to this group of very attractive women, and she was the least attractive, she would just tell them to basically fuck off, go away, leave us alone. We're not interested in you. You're too ugly for us. And it turned out this girl was a virgin, and she'd never had a man, and she really had a lot of hatred in her heart towards men. So you do get women like that. But the other thing you got to consider is if an ex of mine who is literally 6'1" with huge boobs. When you get a girl who's 6'1", who's got a decent set, when you see her in clothes, when you actually get that bra off, oh my God, you've got like more than a handful there. You've got a very big pair. Because if you're used to seeing a girl who's 5'6", who's got a big set, when she's 6'1", it's pretty sizable. Anyway, she was 6'1" with like one of the best bodies I've ever seen, certainly in English speaking country, anywhere really, and long legs. She literally did a job where they had to shorten her legs with Photoshop because her inseam was so long. Anyway, I was out with her quite a few times because she loved music and bars. And yeah, so often guys would come up to her and just go, "Oh, you're so tall," or they'd say something, and she would just and she'd just go, "Oh, how you doing, Jeremy? Yes, thanks for coming over to say hi. Blah blah blah. Listen, I'm just out with my boyfriend and a bunch of my girlfriends. Haven't seen in a while. Thanks for coming over. Maybe I'll talk to you later. I better get back to my friends." She'd just blow them out in, like, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, blah 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 blah, and it was, people were relentless because this was during the peak pickup artist times. And I sort of knew the answer, but I said, "So you're so kind and nice to all of them." She wasn't kind and nice to me a fair bit of the time. And she just said, "Yeah, well, if you're a hot girl and you're mean to a bunch of guys, I mean, what is it, 50, 100, 200 before one of those does something pretty fucking nasty to you. And if you're a hot girl, particularly if you're wearing the tight skirt and high heels, you're extremely vulnerable. You're not going to run away from anyone." So yeah, that hot girls are really, when I get really nasty blowouts on boot camp, it's very, very rarely a really attractive girl. Partially because they don't want to be called, "You're hot, you're such a bitch." The other reason is just self-preservation. They can't go around being mean to a lot of people because it could really savagely come back to bite them. Tess, did you want to add anything to that point?
No, I covered this one pretty well while you were relieving yourself. By the way, you asked that question about the movie, and someone's come back saying the line from the movie, Pulp Fiction. Was that correct?
Did you give me the screenwriter and director and the two actors involved?
No. Just Pulp Fiction is what we got.
I'll give you a hint. One of them was one of the more beautiful American actresses of that era. Given I like the tall girls, that's another big hint. And I think it was the best American movie of the 90s. I think Krzysztof Kieslowski might have made a better film that era. Anyway, enough of my film trivia. Okay, next question.
Yes.
I saw one there. If women are so much more capable than men, do they find talking to men the same experience? Yeah, probably. That's really what the subject of this whole YouTube live's about. We're so clueless. We're so clueless. That's why you need training with Tess. Because yeah, it is a really sad experience. Because if you sit and I do this, so I don't do this anymore, but when I started as a dating coach, and even when I wasn't a dating coach, just wanted to do better with women for myself, I used to eavesdrop on women. Just like, I'd want to hear some guy's a better salesman than me deal with his clients. And yeah, I just screwed my mic up. And yeah, so often, there's a guy on a date and it's just like, what the hell's going on with you, man? What the hell is going on with you? It just is so boring. And without putting the male sex down, when you're sitting over, if you sit and eavesdrop on two women, it's like, he did this to me and he did that to me, but then he got better on the weekend and he did this. No, it's just all about how they feel about how they're being treated, often by the guy they're banging or the guy they want to bang or the guy they used to be banging. That's such a large percentage of female conversations. If you get a chance to eavesdrop on women in a cafe or a bus or wherever you're doing, and maybe I shouldn't be teaching you to eavesdrop on women, but you can learn a lot. Yeah, their entire conversation is about feelings and emotions and relationships. Whereas if you actually listen to male conversations, it's like, it's so boring, man. They're both chemical engineers. It's like kilowatts, cubic meters, miles of pipe, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, BMWs with V8s, BMWs with flat eights, I don't know. I've got to use athletes other than Michael Jordan. What's his name? The Argentinian guy. I can't remember his name. Messi got 3 goals in the last 4 games, or it's just all we talk about is facts and data and stats, and it must be so boring to women. That's why one of the things we do in our boot camps, Tess does a bit of it on YouTube, is we try to teach you how to communicate more like a woman. We don't want to turn you into some sort of flaming homosexual, but we just want to have you having more feelings and emotion questions. Tess, if you do like 5 Zoom calls in a night, how many times will you say, feelings and emotion question, more feelings and emotion, less facts and data?
Yeah, it's a very, very common one. It's a very common one. It's especially for a lot of our clients who come from more analytically minded type roles, like, you know, the engineers, the accountants, the yeah, all these guys who are problem solving type brains. Yeah, you're really stuck in the well, like IT guys as well. Yeah, really stuck in the closed-ended questions. You're always trying to narrow things down to get to the answer rather than the opposite way, which is how you build rapport really easy with women. So yeah, feelings and emotions questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do in a little social coach sponsored section that will take like 15 seconds. If you can ask good open-ended questions, ask good facts and data open-ended questions. If you can train your listening, so why would I pay to train my listening? That's absurd. But yeah, it's one of the most powerful things you can do. If you can read signals a bit, if you can structure a decent date plan, if you can get a wardrobe that's not trying too hard, that fits your body type, your build, your whatever, your socioeconomic level, your age, what your hobbies, interests are. If you can just tick a few of those boxes, Jesus fucking Christ, man, in 2026, the success you can have with women is out of this world. Someone asked me, you know, you met naturals who did better than you. Why didn't you beat them? Given all your study. So I mean, I would have. If I was 20 years younger with the skill I have now, let alone 25, it would be absolutely insane how well I do. Like absolutely insane. The reason why I didn't have the success I could have had if I hadn't sort of got much more passionate about helping guys rather than sleeping with more girls is because style and actually learning how to dress to be attractive to women was one of the last things that clicked in for me. Regrettably. So a lot of my success with models happened just dressed like a fucking homeless person, literally, for when it got cold in America because I didn't have any clothes and didn't want to buy any more clothes. Anyway, let's move on to the next question.
Sure. I just want to put up this comment because it's also from someone new, S. Goonan. Thanks, James and Tess. I found the channel 2 weeks ago and went out last night for the first time since. I got a result with a pretty woman who had rejected me previously. Middle-aged bogan. Haha. Awesome. Great to have you here. Thank you for sharing your recent success, and awesome that you've learned some stuff just from tuning into these. So I'm really happy to have you here. Thanks for sharing.
Really appreciate that, man. Anyone who's new to these, we've been doing this 20 years. I've been doing it 20 years. Tess is 7 or 8 years, and I don't know how many Zoom calls she's done, a lot, plus boot camps and some of the advanced events. But yeah, I look at what other people are doing, and sometimes I watch a bit of their videos, and I don't want to be negative, but yeah, it's like, I don't think, yeah, there's not many people who are talking sense. I can almost count them on my hand. And I mean, no, that's not true. Some people talk sense, but then they'll give you really bad advice as well. There's a lot of people who are good marketers or good YouTubers who'll give you good advice. That is fucking terrible. Then that's not the greatest. And then good advice, which is really, really frustrating because you guys don't know what's good and what's bad. I had this when I started as a business coach, it was really when I started using business marketing agencies, that they do one or two things right, then they just completely screw up something. It cost me infinite amounts of pain in my life. So yeah, next point. Thanks so much for that, Esgunan
Yeah.
5720.
Okay. Question from Nolan. In a situation where you see a woman intermittently, i.e., receptionist in an office, is it better to go for a number or date within 1 to 3 times seeing them, or let things happen over a longer time?
Okay, great question, and this is a tough one. You need to ask a whole bunch of questions to get you. I grew up in a city called Perth, which I think barely had 1 million people when I was growing up. And yeah, if I did see an attractive girl, it was quite helpful not to show too much interest and then let it build up. But then I moved to much bigger places like Sydney or New York or LA or something. And yeah, it's like you might not see that girl again, particularly in Manhattan, because there's so many people concentrated in such a small place. I mean, like if you live in Manhattan, you know, the chances of you running into someone who's not directly in your neighborhood is relatively small. The other thing is, when I did go out to bars, I like smaller, more intimate bars because you can meet a girl and you go, "Oh, it's so good to meet you." You can go back and hang out with your friends, maybe chat some other girls, and you can build up a lot of extra interest. I mean, one of these big bars that holds 500 or 1,000 people or more than that, you've got no chance of doing that. So it's so much harder to get laid because you've got to overinvest straight away. So if you think it's likely you're going to see her a few more times, you might not go straight for the number or the date straight away, simply because you've put your cards on the table. And insights into female psychology: he likes me. That's another guy who wants me. I feel good about myself. Bing, 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 bing. And then they're less interested in dating you. That's why it's worth a curse word. That's why these fuckwit pickup artists who go around counting how many number closes they never get laid. I met some of the most iconic hardcore cold approach pickup artists. They never got laid. But they're all famous for doing, there's a traffic jam, so they get out their car and run 500 meters up the road to tell some girl she's pretty and ask for a number. Did she ever call you back? No. Did you have sex with her? Most definitely not. Did she become your girlfriend? Most definitely not. But they think the number close or a kiss close even some sort of big achievement. So it really depends on the situation and how likely you are to see them again. Like many things in dating, you got to run some maths to come up with the answer. So in my situation, where I will use something you can probably relate to, it's a small local gym. You're training there 3 times a week. You've seen the girl a few times. I meet her. I have a great conversation with her in that environment. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a bet that I see her again in the next week or two before she meets some other guy. I'm going to leave her wanting more, and then I'll get the number the next time I meet her. And that's the right strategy. Whereas if I'm in one of those big, I don't know the names of the American ones, like Fitness First or something, where it's like thousands of members and you might never see her again, you need to go earlier. So in direct answer to your question, how long do you think you see her next? If you think you're going to see her in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you might want to take a punt on letting her have some time to think about you. If you don't think you're going to see her for quite a time, you're probably going to have to go for the number and date then. So yeah, this is so much of what women do with men. Some people say women aren't that good at maths, but they're really good at dating maths. They're running the probabilities on all this, even though they might not see it that way. They're talking dating strategy with their girlfriends. Was that an uncomfortable laugh, Tess?
No, no, it's no, no. I agree. The dating maths, it's unconscious. It's not that we're like doing these calculations with our girlfriends. It's just yeah, we're considering all of these factors in any scenario with every person.
Yeah, this is what women do. We try to get better at jujitsu or sales or engineering. Women are working on relationships, particularly primary romantic relationships, and catching the right man to spend their life with, who can knock them up and hopefully be a good father and a good provider. So yeah, I hope I've given you a good, thorough answer to that question. Anything you want to add, Tess?
No, I think that was a pretty good answer. Yeah, obviously, like timing is a big one. Also, yeah, there is a bit of situational stuff there as well. Um, but yeah, I think also something you didn't mention, James, was if it is someone who you're seeing very regularly, like yeah, almost daily or something, or like at least weekly or multi-weekly or whatever, multiple times in a week. That if she's giving you some signals or being open, then sometimes women, they kind of open a window for you, and if you don't make your move within that window, she'll then assume that you're just not interested. Okay, so that's kind of what some of the things we were talking about today as well. Like if you're not picking up on the fact that she's wanting you to actually make that move, that window can close, and she'll just think, "Oh, this guy has no interest in me." Like yeah, and then it can become more difficult down the track, right? So yeah, that timing is quite important.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations to Peter for acing his 90s movie trivia. Someone said Johnny Depp. And the beautiful Uma Thurman. Anyway, we seem to be on the masturbation bandwagon tonight. I don't know if I ever did this, but there's a very good movie with some fine acting from Glenn Close and John Malkovich, where you get to see, I don't know, 20-year-old Uma Thurman's chest. And I don't think that was AI. That 6-foot woman had a very, 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 very good chest. So yeah, that would have been more rewound by me than the scene in Fatal Attraction by a long way. And no one said the screenwriter, the most talented man in cinema history since Orson Welles, based on his first 2 films and his first major screenplay, who probably never fulfilled his potential, in my view. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. No one's matched those for their first 2 films since a guy called Orson Welles back in the 40s. And then I was not a fan of most of his other movies in comparison to those 2. And True Romance, one of the most underrated films of all time. Django Unchained was fucking awesome. But I wasn't a huge fan of the rest of his movies compared to how good I thought he would be. Quentin Tarantino, also one of the greatest screenplays of all time. Anyway, enough films, more dates and sex for you guys. Thank you so much for all the guys who were keen on the mastermind. I don't know how many there is now.
I think yeah, we had another one. I think eight people.
Okay. Could you guys do me a huge favor? And when the video goes live, just put the mastermind in there, because I'm probably gonna have to edit some of my screw ups at the start, and we'll lose these. And I got, because I've got to do the table of contents as well, to end up going to bed very, very late these nights, which drives me crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Elizabeth Shue. Yes, I'm more of an Uma Thurman man myself, but I think that's another girl with a fine chest. And back when I was a boy, nearly all the chests were real. They weren't these plastic things, which I'm not a huge fan of. In my 30s and 40s, I'd always try one out every few years to see if the technology improved, and it never really seemed to get that much better. Thank you, man. don't get an editor. We love the retarded tangents. Thank you. I need more feedback about that because some of them are very, very valuable. Some of them, some guys might think are amusing. Some guys think I'm the biggest cocksucker who's ever walked the face of the earth. Like, yeah, this mic, I don't know if anyone's ever used one of these big mics and being a stridently heterosexual gentleman for most of their life. Then you have to stick this thing like a few inches from your mouth. It's like, I'm still coming to terms with it. The first time I did this, I'm like, this is quite off-putting. You got to sit and talk and concentrate, where you got this big black thing with a, the sort of foreskin's black, but then the head's grey. I don't know what nationality has that. I don't have much experience in penises at close range, nor much gay porn. I get my girlfriends to watch gay porn because that gives them some skills on the prostate, particularly if they've studied medicine. Let me tell you that's a dating sex tip you want to go. For you guys who are a bit younger than our usual client, you want to start going after these medical students, and particularly once they've done the hospitals and they've done all the poking, and you want to say, hey, honey, you want to really blast my head off? You might want to check out some gay porn on the old internet, and it sounded like a fucking opera singer. It was like someone stuck a hot coal up my backside. It was the most. I just screamed. It only worked one or two times to that extent, but the first time, whatever, my prostate went off, it was like, whoa! Like, it was something else. So those gay boys might not be completely misguided. I don't know if I want to go down that path in this incarnation, even though it's very cool now. Probably helps you get a lot more threesomes too if you like a bit of dick every now and then. But based on having this big mic in front of me, I might pass on a bit of dick in this lifetime. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Tess, for you younger, whatever, 20 years younger than me, there was a lot of great comedy about gay guys in the 80s and 90s. Who remembers Eddie Murphy delirious in the orange jumpsuit when he goes to Hollywood and he finds out Mr. T is an F word? Is anyone old enough to remember that? I'll bet some of you guys watched that more than Glenn Close opening and shutting her legs in Basic Instinct. Who remembers Eddie Murphy going to Hollywood and finding out Mr. T was an F word? This is 80s trivia for you. A lot of guys in the 90s watched it too. Peter's saying, I'll need to get the Joe Rogan headphones to go with the microphone. I probably will. We'll have to go full pro at one point. But I keep fucking up everything when I have to deal with lots of technology. And it's hard to get an assistant on a Sunday night because we usually get it right. Okay, questions. We might have to wrap up soon. So any pressing questions? I haven't. Here's one of my favorite clients. What does a woman do with her feet and body when she likes you? Great question. There's a lot of foot pointing when a woman likes you. There's a bit of boob rubbing. Why are you laughing so much, Tess?
I don't know. I just I got that out of context. Obviously, it makes sense with the foot pointing, but what does a woman do with her feet and body when she likes you? Sorry, I don't know why I read that just different.
Were you thinking like digital penetration of the?
I don't know. I was thinking like, why are you asking this question? And then I was like, oh no, it's a good question actually. When you mentioned the foot pointing, but I was like, why do you care what she's doing with her feet? sorry, I just it didn't click.
Well, back to the old Quentin Tarantino, the most promising film director of my lifetime. I think there's one guy who's much better than him, who wrote and directed Vicky Cristina Barcelona, amongst other masterpieces. But the most talented director of my lifetime. I wonder if when he gets a lovely young actress back to his room, he's asking her to do any particular things with her feet and his genitals. What do you think, guys? Do you think Quentin Tarantino likes to get the a bit of lube, a bit of coconut oil on the woman's feet and get her to do a bit of what would the word to that be? Podiatrist, pedostimulation or something, pedological stimulation, or podiatrist, pedological stimulation. Is that a word? If anyone can ask AI, if she maybe gets both feet with a bit of lube on it and just moves up and down. Maybe the great QT, Quentin Tarantino, maybe he finds that much more inviting than a tit fuck. Quentin, if you're tuning into my YouTube lives, I don't really have too many bad things to say about you. I consider you a true genius. So hopefully you don't mind being the butt or the foot or the penis of my terrible humor. Yeah. And what do guys with foot fetishes like? What extras do they like in the bedroom? I'd like to know that. Can you find any questions, Tess? Probably tons.
Yes. So, wait, you didn't finish answering this because I butted in. So while you answer this, I'll look for the next question.
So I'm just off on this foot masturbation tangent for the great man Quentin. Yeah, she's often going to point her feet at you. She often direct her body directly towards you. I mean, we've talked about how if a girl ever brushes her breasts against you, she probably likes you. A whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, she can get closer to you. So that probably covers most of it. Did you want to add anything, Tess?
No, that definitely covers it. Yeah. If you notice that her body is facing towards you, or like even on a date, body language where she's leaning forward or getting closer to you, or just her body is facing you, they're all good signs that she's interested. She wants more. Okay, so next question.
Right. She might sort of bend over and squeeze her boobs together. That's a sign you get a lot. There's a follow up on the Russian one.
Yes.
Sorry if I'm mixing up the order, Tess. Follow up on my Russian question. In my experience, sometimes if you refuse certain demands or just straight out ghost reject you, do you ever comply? Lose the battle to win the war. Okay. It's a bit of nuance with Russian women. If you tell me what country you're in, almost 007, that's interesting to me. I've had a few Russian women. The two greatest Russian women of my life were both living in Russia. They were both from upper middle class, in one case, extreme cultural elite background. Now, in my experience, I haven't met too many like A-grade Russian women by my standards in Australia. I think a lot of the best Russian women go to New York. I met some there, but I haven't met too many in Australia. And most of them have snatched some Australian man and done their 2 years and then left him. So you do get a lot of Russian women, some of them very beautiful, who've come from, not so economically sound situations in Russia, who've come to whatever, America, Australia, Western Europe, Canada, etc., for a better life than they'd get in some Russian village. People don't understand the income disparity between Moscow, St. Petersburg, and many of the villages. It's literally, some of them are literally like the Borat movie, I believe was filmed in Romania. So the girl with the hot body who's come here and she wants her mummy's been training her to be a gold digger since she was young, who uses her brains and her manipulation to control men. That's a very different kettle of fish to the Russian women I've dated. So my advice is more around what I consider the very sophisticated St. Petersburg, Moscow Russian girls. So I don't have a huge amount of experience with the other type. I've probably slept with one or two over the years, but I tend to reject girls who aren't smart enough for me. So yeah. Do you ever comply? If you refuse certain demands, they just straight up ghost you, reject you. Okay. Well, yeah, Russian women, as a generalization, which is true, they will run you through so many more hoops, and they'll be doing far more women's tests than women from pretty much any other country I know of. So generally, the hotter they are and the more intelligent they are, and oftentimes, no, that's not true. Sometimes some women will test more when they're looking for their husband. Sometimes other women will test more when they're young and whatever at their peak, and they just want the most alpha male, super confident man you can ever meet. So I can't make a certain statement about that. But yeah, Russian women will run you through so many hoops. Val, one of my female coaches, she talks extensively about how when she really likes a guy, he'll text her and she'll never text him back. And she expects he knows to follow her up. She wants this guy to prove he's like an alpha male go-getter who sets his sights on a goal and doesn't give up. I'm not going to go into the whole story now, but I told a story on one of my advanced events. I think I counted 15 times. I had to ask a girl for her number and ask her out, and eventually she said yes. And that turned into one of the great women of my life. The greatest woman of my life in terms of how remarkable she was. The smartest woman I've ever met in my life, and she was 20. But by far, no one's even close. But yeah, she ran me through many hoops only Russian girl could ever come up with. Even French girls, nothing close. She was brutal, but yeah, remarkable. So yeah, I think that the problem most American, Canadian, Australian, Dutch, German, Swedish, Norwegian, I'm thinking of all the wussy countries, English, Scottish men, South African, New Zealand have with Russian women is you're just not sophisticated enough with them. Part of the reason I've had a very, very easy run on American, Australian, Canadian women is because I was trained by a Russian girl. A Russian girl put me through hell. Woman's gulag. Dating Russian women, trying to get a Russian woman into bed is equivalent of time in gulag. So you spend time in Russian gulag trying to get high quality Russian woman. Australian Americans, they're just like effortless compared, because the hell you have to go through to get a decent Russian woman, I can't even tell you. That's certainly been my experience. I mean, the two great Russian women, one incredibly great, one really great Russian woman in my life. It was just like torture to actually just get them on a date, get them into bed. But I persisted, and that's partially what they were looking for. Next question.
Sure. So question from Ivan. What does she do when she's interested but doesn't want her friends to see?
She might hit on you very subtly. She might send even more subtle signals. She might not send big signals. She might send much more eye signals, much more mouth signals. If she touches you, maybe like the story I told at the start, where the girl leaned in and literally touched me on the stomach in a very subtle way so that the people around probably wouldn't have seen, or not everyone would have seen. Yeah, so that's a good question. She'll do it in a very subtle, low-key way. Tess, do you want to add to that as a woman?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I guess she's trying to be discreet. So basically, yeah, her signals would definitely be a lot more discreet. Any sort of like incidental touch that's that's maybe like out of view of other people, or yeah, definitely the eye contact thing. I think you covered that pretty well, James. I'm trying to think of anything else specific. Yeah, if she doesn't want her friends to see, it's going to be stuff that's not hugely obvious. So yeah, the eye contact, or even just maybe more conversation wise, like if she's asking you questions or trying to engage with you more, or just like body positioning if she's getting closer to you. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. I guess that would be, this is difficult as well though, because why doesn't she want her friends to see? If it's because she's ashamed of you, or like, then it would be hard for that to progress in front of the friends. So that's definitely a challenging one. Or maybe she doesn't want, maybe she wants to be discreet because she's worried her friends are going to be jealous and try to get the attention, which is also a possibility. So I mean, that might play a bit of a factor for how she's acting as well.
There could be Tess is 100% right, or it's 99% right. There could be some situations like after work on a Friday where she really likes you, but she's very, very subtle in hitting on you because she doesn't want her work colleagues to see, particularly if there's males around or
Yeah.
women. There was a situation I've had a couple of times where I met a girl and she was with friends. And in one case in Sweden, she'd just broken up with a guy who really loved her. She'd just broken up with a guy, and a bunch of his friends were still at this party in Sweden I got invited to. So I tried to get my way with her, but she just I might just tell you this story because guys really value it. No, we better get on. We'll answer. We want to get through most of your questions. Next question, Tess.
Yes. Sang 3000. Hi, anyone know what happened to last week's video? Sorry about that, Sang. And welcome. Nice to have you here.
I should have apologized at the start. We have seriously, we're in the process of seriously upping our game, technically, and there's been a bunch of problems with that. So unfortunately, Tessa's sound last week was bad. We had a bunch of comments about it, and it was incredibly valuable content. So I didn't want a bunch of guys to just click on the thumbnail and just hear the sound and give up on it. So what we're going to do is and there was a few other tech issues, is I'm going to actually use the initial video to make a dramatically better version still, because I fucked something up. And we'll probably do that next couple of months. So I would implore you to come and watch that again, because what you guys click on and what is most valuable for the guys watching on YouTube, most of you don't know what to click on. You click on stuff where I come up with some catchy title and give you real value, but the really valuable stuff about reading signals, about conversation, about basics of female psychology just isn't sexy. You need some stupidly sexy title. What did I come up with? If I just said 7 signs a woman likes you, you probably wouldn't have clicked on it. But when I said, but won't say it, according to people who are much better at YouTube than me, a lot of you are going to watch. So, yeah, so I'm not, Tess and I are professional dating coaches. As you can tell by all our fuck ups, mainly my fuck ups, it's like Tess has done 2 fuck ups. I've done 98. It's probably more like 198. Yeah, we're not YouTubers. We're professional fucking legend dating coaches. Maybe in 6 months we'll be good YouTubers. So yeah, we're gonna replay it. So I apologize for putting that up, advertising it, and taking it down. But after doing my little piece of analysis, I thought I just don't want to give you guys amazing content that looks like it's fucking rank amateur. So yeah, I got Tess a oh, can you show him your little phallic thing? So Tessa's got a sexy mic. Oh, she's got an even sexier one than me. She's got a big black what's it that flashes. So mine doesn't flash. Oh, there's a little flash at the back. It's a green thing at the back. Tessa's got a really good one. Hers weighs a bit more than mine, and mine. I move around a bit, and we've got this sexy teleprompter thing, so that we've got really good quality video. Are you're not using the teleprompter tonight, are you?
I am using it, yes.
Whoa! See,
But yeah, I had to. Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, sorry guys, a few new moving parts to our production, so a few teething issues. So apologies about last week. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if you were there live, you probably. I hope you took notes. Otherwise, yeah, we will deliver some of that content in the future. But yeah, it just wasn't up to scratch. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we'll make it much better. So that's what happens. Sorry about advertising something, then pulling it down like a toxic woman. Next question is I get stuck into movie trivia. Sharon Stone opened her legs in Basic Instinct. Glenn Close was the cow in Fatal Attraction. Did I get my names mixed up? Oh yeah, Glenn Close was an incredible actress, like far beyond Fatal Attraction in a movie called Dangerous Liaisons. So if you want to see a really good set of tits, young Uma. Don't know what the fuck Quentin Tarantino was filming her feet for with a set of boobs like that. I mean, she had some good stuff, young Uma. I don't know. For anyone who's a bit sexually deprived, she did an interview on Conan O'Brien. Is that the redheaded guy? Where she walks out with no bra. You might want to watch that once or twice. As a connoisseur of really superb Soviet breast tissue, I think Uma might have been issued with some of that too. Anyway, enough boob talk. Sorry about this, Tess. I talk more about big black schlongs than I do great boobs in my defense. Maybe I'm really want to come out the closet, but I'm just hiding in there, and I hide it with all these jokes. Would a 28-year-old actually be attracted to a 58-year-old, or is she just being nice? It depends on you. It depends on your skill. It depends on your confidence. It depends on your connection. I'm 55 and I've slept with some girls quite a bit younger than that. So yeah, I think if you're confident, I shared on the last couple of YouTube lives how one seriously beautiful woman. I don't want to put any of my female coaches down, but this girl had a face like wow, just like wow. And yeah, I mean she was only 5'6", so I don't know. She could have modeled for sure. But yeah, I just didn't have much of a connection with her, and she couldn't have been older than 22, but she appeared to be very interested. And then there was another girl who I thought about later. She wasn't like super hot like this one, but yeah, she seemed like a really hardcore traveler. I meant to actually go back to where I met her, and see her, but I can't remember. Something came up. Had a wee bit of a crisis this week with where I'm living, so. So yeah, if you've got the skills and you're not completely wretched, absolutely. Again, there's a group of 28-year-old women who would not get involved with a 55-year-old man if it was their last day on planet Earth. They just would never do it. And then you get a group of 28-year-old women who literally would prefer to date a 55-year-old man. And then you'd get a dramatically larger group of 28-year-old women who would ideally want to date a guy who's 40 to 45, maybe 48, 49 at a stretch. But if they meet a super confident 55-year-old who's really looked after his health, like this one, they'll happily come to bed with you. I was going to say something intelligent, but I forgot. Tess, did you want to add anything? Oh yeah. I won't say which one, but I was doing a private training with one of my female coaches, and she was telling me a story about an unpleasant experience she'd had with a guy who'd read that book, The Game. It was partially laughing, but he also put her in a really awkward situation. And then I remember her line was, and he was 47, 47. He was almost 50. That's so gross. Who would ever be attracted to a guy who's 47? And then by accident, a girl I dated who was still unfortunately very important in my business let slip that that her new boyfriend, I don't want to say too much, took her on this holiday to a place where he's got a business in Africa, and she was talking about what happened. And then it dawned on this girl that she could sleep with me, who was older than 47, and then there would be no repercussions from the girl who at that stage did my trainer roster for my live events. And she hurled herself at me. She hurled herself at me. Those boobs were in I wouldn't say constant contact. She rubbed her boobs against me. She flirted crazy. She said, "Oh yeah, we've been talking about catching up for a long, long, long time." It was so overt. And then she texted me a couple of times about useless stuff that following week. So she said, "Oh, it's the grossest thing ever. A 47-year-old who's nearly 50 hit on me. Oh, I'd never do anything like that." But when admittedly I had high social status, I was her boss. I was coaching. Guys were looking up to me to coach them. She'd seen me public speak many times. So, there's obviously a backstory. There's a backstory to that story. But yeah, she just hurled herself at me just on that one piece of information. So yeah, some girls might say, "Oh my God, a guy that old, that's gross." And I've had girls basically say that to me. I had one girl who was 22. This is barely pre-COVID. It was just before COVID hit. So I'm not going to do the maths on how old I was. I can't remember how old I was. I won't waste time with the maths. But yeah, she was 22. Anyway, whatever. We spent a few days together and we had to part ways. And then and it came up and she sort of hinted at my age. And I said, "Oh, do you want me to tell you?" I'm not going to lie to you. She goes, No, I'd rather not know. So she didn't even want to know how old I was. She goes, "No, I'd rather just have this fantasy in my mind. I don't really want to know." I told her I was probably a bit older than she thought I was. I'd been doing a lot of yoga, so I probably looked a bit younger, and I'd let my stress down a bit. So yeah, you'd be astounded how often, if you're confident, it just makes no difference in the world. Health is quite important too, and we coach our clients on health when they work with us, because that's a very important part to being a sexy older man. Next question.
Okay.
We might wrap up soon. So if you've got any questions you really want answered, chuck them in the chat, please.
History. Welcome. So you said that if a guy does not act upon her signals, the window of opportunity closes and she will lose interest. How likely is it to get her interested again, and how to do it best?
That is a first-class question, History Jerk. Thank you. I might be asking this again. Are you the guy who asked questions about charisma arts, or have I already asked you that?
You asked that. No, you asked that to someone else. Almost 007, who said no. So
if that guy is watching, he's one of the first people I'd want in the YouTube mastermind, because he asks really good questions. If that's you, History Jerk, just put it in the chat. Okay, the guy I'm talking about, the guy from Charisma Arts, he had a concept. This is not my concept. It's really smart. Where when you meet a woman, she will open the window for a time. And if you don't go through that window, she leaves it open for a while, she might never open the window again, or she might open it, but this time for a much shorter time, and you've got less time to go through. This could be if she knows you, if she sees you at the gym and you don't act. It could be one of the biggest things is you're on a date with a girl and she gives you a chance to kiss her, or she leaves her hand very close to you where you can easily take her hand and you don't do anything. She might only open that window once and you might not get another chance. That's why so many guys get friend zone. It's like the girl was, waxed her innards and changed her push-up bra 4 times and changed her outfit 5 times and, used breath spray or swished coconut oil or something to get her breath and didn't eat for hours and didn't eat much so her belly didn't stick out and when she's naked. She went to all this trouble because she was planning to sleep with you because you're such a fucking wussy American, Australian, English, Norwegian, Dutch, pathetic, nice guy. She just lost all attraction to you. And then, you complain she put you in the friend zone when you're in the fuckboy zone for a short time, but then you screwed up by not reading her signals. So you might be able to get her interested. The best thing is when you get like a hard stop, then you just go back a few steps and then you do a much better job of 3 steps ago. So it might be asked much better open-ended questions. It might be listen better. It might be asked much better open-ended questions. It might be have a better date plan. It might be touch her more on the shoulder. If you try to take her hand and she doesn't want to do it, she pulls her hand away, you might just need to go back and touch her on the shoulder a few times and then really build a stronger connection with her. And then you might try again afterwards. This isn't stuff we should teach on YouTube. Once our clients get to a reasonable level, a lot of it is actually getting through the situation where what you're doing is not working. How do you adjust so that you can make this shit work? Tess, did you want to add on a guy's not acting on the signals, window of opportunity closes, how do you get interested again?
Yeah, how to do it best. Yeah, I think if the window's open once before and it's like second opening of the window, that's okay. If it's like opened a couple of times and you've let her down, it's probably, yeah, I mean, I guess for each woman it might be different, but third time you're not getting a big window, right? So I would say, yeah, if you've like missed your first 2 chances, there's not a lot of hope there. But so this is why you've got to take the opportunities where they arise. But how to do it best? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is just what we teach. If you're connecting with her in an authentic way, through all the conversation stuff that we teach, as well as being dressed well, and building sexual attraction as well. She's obviously, if she's opening her window, there is already some level of attraction there. So you just need to build on that, really. Then yeah, I think that's basically it. I can't think of anything more specific to do in this sort of scenario if you've kind of like missed the first opportunity. I guess it helps when you come across as a guy who's, you've got a lot going on in your life. Potentially you're busy, etc., which means that she could kind of rationalize why you might not have taken the first window of opportunity. If you were your focus was elsewhere or something, or yeah.
Thanks, Tess. Next question.
Yes. Okay.
I'll just give a word of warning. If you guys do have a bit of money or an older guy chasing younger women and she throws some signals at you and you don't take them and she gives you second chance, third chance, fourth chance, and then you guys end up dating, sexual relationship, proper relationship, you're really just waving a red flag to a bull, take advantage of me, exploit me, treat me like shit. This is probably the most important thing I've said here, particularly if you've got a bit of money. Because if you're missing a bunch of signals and for whatever reason she's desperate, you've got money, she wants an older guy with cash she can take advantage of, you're basically advertising that you're useless and pathetic and easy to control and suck money and resources out of. So yeah, so many guys go red pill and they're so angry at women, but they're so clueless with women. It's like, if you do get a decent woman, you might turn her toxic. B, you're just waving a red flag to bulls, women, saying, "Come take advantage of me." And so many guys don't realize this, and they get shitty with me when I talk about this. So yeah, we get like when guys do our courses, particularly the live events, where you get to work in up close and personal and hold Tess's hand and touch on small back and learn to hug her and all this sort of stuff. When guys do this with us, we get them to fill in a very detailed questionnaire. And so many guys, they're just railing on this woman who is a nightmare, and often they really are. But then we see them with women. I'm like, dude, you're just waiting for your next toxic woman to come along. Seriously. And you got some money, you got some serious money. So yeah, in terms of toxic women, I've had a bad one, and I deserve quite a bit of the blame. Guys blame women far too much. Now, there are some women, whatever. I think it's a 1% psychopath rate amongst women. There's a 3% psychopath rate amongst men. You want to Google those figures. I'm no clinical psychologist. And you do get some really toxic, manipulative, disgusting women who aren't psychopaths. But yeah, if you do have these skills, you're just so much less likely to actually get stuck with a toxic girl. Next question, Tess.
Yeah, question from Luke, who's just tuned in from Bangkok. James, what is your top pick for countries where you'll find the mother of your future kids, and why?
One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster. Does anyone remember that song? I'm really showing my age now. The bars and temples, but the pulsing. I can't remember. Who sung that? That was a good. That was kind of the first rap song ever. That was the first rap music I ever heard, and it was a white guy. Maybe Tupac and Biggie Smalls copied Murray Hall or One Night in Bangkok. That was one of the biggest one-hit wonders of my 20s, because that was number one on the TV show called Countdown for a long time. James, what's your top pick for countries where you'll meet the mother of your future kids? Number 1, Russia. Number 2, Russia. Number 3, Russia. Number 4, probably Budapest or Poland or Hungary. Budapest, not a country, you fucking idiot. Hungary, maybe Czech. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, it could be a crazy smart Latina girl. I haven't met many, but I've met one or two from a really nice family. I mean, I'm not a big Asian fan, but I had a half Japanese, I got to half Dutch or half German girl who was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I shouldn't say so precisely. Based on my experience, that's the most likely thing. But who knows? I mean, I could meet a wonderful Australian girl and fall in love with her. I'd really like to do that, actually, because there's when you try to have a serious relationship with a girl from a Soviet country, or even Europe, much to a less extent Europe, or from a Latin country, there's quite a cultural divide that you've got to get through, apart from the fact that families are so far apart. So yeah, that's my honest answer. It's hard. I haven't. The girl who was half Japanese, I met her in Australia, but she wasn't really an Australian. She'd spent her childhood living around the world. Her dad was a management consultant. But apart from that, yeah, it's hard. And I had an extraordinary Latina girl who was just an angel, who I was so in love with. But yeah, and I've had some other. I had a great girl from Poland, but I don't know whether I'd marry her. If I met her now, I might, because it's been a long time since I met a girl of that level. But yeah, in a perfect world, I've actually helped some clients who basically came to me just hating Australian girls to actually meet, marry, and have a family with wonderful Australian women. One guy got a girl who was like a high-level agency model in the States, and she danced in all the musical theaters on Broadway. And I can't remember her degree. I'm not going to make it up. She was stunningly beautiful, obviously a high-level agency model. So he got her, and he never thought in a million years he'd ever marry an Australian, but he did. So I could tell you a few other clients like that. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Luke, what do you think your top 3 or 4 picks are? Oh, I thought you said, what's your top 4 picks? Sorry, that's why I gave you four answers. I mean, I'd love it to be an Australian. That would be much, much simpler. Or an American, maybe. So I could get my residency and become the biggest dating coach in the world and change lives of millions and millions of men. And certainly if I'm based in America, I'm going to impact more men than if I'm based in any other country, because that's where all the good YouTubers and marketers live. It's in America. A wise man once told me, never listen to marketing advice from someone who doesn't have an American accent, because they're full of shit, which is kind of true in most cases. Anyway, maybe a wonderful Aussie girl will come along. Next question, Tess.
Yes.
Unless you want to add something to that, which you probably don't.
No, I don't think that one's directed at me. Okay. Question from Martin. If she's not showing much, is it worth persisting?
If it is the Russian girl who's shown small signals and she gives you nothing to see if you're a real man's who will survive through Gulag, Stalin, Lenin, etc., then yeah, it's definitely worth persisting. And that's where I got 2 of the greatest women in my life from. This is where you've got to be really good at reading signals and really good at women's tests. So for most of you guys watching in YouTube land, the answer is probably no, because you might get yourself into a lot of trouble. But once you've actually done sessions with Tess and we've taught you a lot more advanced stuff, and we've actually integrated all the stuff we teach into who you are, then yeah, you persist. But you persist intelligently, knowing what the real situation is. If that makes sense. Tess, do you want to cover off on that, given you're a woman? You've probably had guys persist when you didn't want them to, which is very, very not fun for many girls.
Yeah, so the persistence in itself can be endearing, though, to be honest. I think that, like, it takes a lot of confidence to persist. So that can, even if she's not super interested in the beginning, sometimes the persistence can wear that down. She's like, oh, okay, I'll give this guy a chance, or what James was saying, for certain cultures, the persistence is actually what she's testing for. So the persistence is actually something she requires. So yeah, obviously there are cultural differences. Persisting for the sake of it can have its merits as well. But then the big issue here is if you're persisting when she's completely closed, right? And it's not that she's not showing much, it's that she's trying to get rid of you and you're not leaving. That's not good. So it kind of depends on the situation. But I think a bit of persistence early on, if you're not sure exactly what the situation is definitely worth it, because otherwise, that opportunity will slip away, right? So don't give up too early is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of guys, I think, like, I would say the vast majority of the guys, especially the guys that I interact with, the guys I work with, their problem is that they give up too early. Or they just don't even try. They don't try to take opportunities. They're scared of rejection, etc. So yeah, a bit of persistence is definitely worth it. And we do practice that when, you know, when we get to the more advanced levels as well, with role plays. Yeah, sometimes there might be a couple of little objections early on, but if you know how to get around those, it can work really well, because women are like, oh wow, this guy's actually really confident, and he's not budging. I'm interested now. So yeah.
Tess is really good at becoming Russian bitch. That was her big weakness for most of her dating coaching career. So yeah, we had a pretty attractive 50 or 51-year-old client, and he was working with one of my female coaches who's never. She's the only one, I think. She's never behaved inappropriately with a client ever. And she's like a proper model. I mean, if you're an Australian, you'll see her going by on buses. I walked out the front of a cinema. I saw her out the front of a cinema. She's a proper model, a crazy body and a beautiful face. And Tess taught this guy how to break through when a woman's being a complete bitch. Amazing work from Tess. Amazing work from Tess. In terms of her coaching, that's probably the most proud of her I've ever been. Thank you for that. So Tess has done this incredible job on Zoom, and this guy is going up to this female coach who's never behaved even slightly inappropriate with a client ever. And this guy does like as good a job as me, potentially better, given I'm not that promiscuous anymore, probably better, at breaking through this female coach's, she's Russian, obviously, this female coach's resistance. And this girl just hurls herself at him. It was pathetic. I was literally sending guys down with cell phones. I said, go pick up the girls. Oh, I want to see what she does. I sent a guy down with a cell phone I shouldn't say this, to record the thing, because I just wanted to see it. I'd never publish it, because she just went gaga for him, like completely gaga. She never paid one iota of attention to him. She's a girl who likes to date guys with serious money, not just whatever engineers on decent salaries. And he wasn't the sort of guy she goes for at all. But she threw herself at him. And the simple reason was Tess on Zoom coaching guys how to break through a woman's resistance. And the act of doing that got this girl so ridiculously attracted to this guy, it wasn't funny. It was, I've never been so proud of Tess as a coach, and there's been many times I've been very proud of her as a coach and as a incredibly important part of social coach. And some of her insights into female psychology have been wonderful as well. But yeah, in terms of her actually coaching guys, this was her whatever. This was the peak of her career. The way this other female coach reacted to this guy was profound. So yes, sometimes it is worth persisting. And I think she was trying. I mean, she was really badly behaved. She was doing everything she could to get her number and stay in touch with him. And this girl had done like 15 or 16 years with me, completely and utterly professional the entire time, not one tiny little mark on her reputation. And then she was a complete disgrace. I found it really amusing. Anyway, and it gave me a good story for a YouTube live anyway. Tess, next question, please.
Yes.
We should do a quick summary. This will be funny because I screwed it up a bit. Get the banners back. I should have done this earlier, guys. Sorry. Okay. Oh, we haven't given you homework. Anyway, okay. What do I call this? Older guys, the 7 signs younger women like you, but they won't come out and say it, or strip naked in front of you and drop to their knees and flop your dick out and start sucking in the middle of the gym. If a girl doesn't do that, most of you American, Australian, German, Swedish, Canadian guys are too clueless to know what's going on. So yeah, that's what it's called. And these are the things we gave you. Eye contact, we gave you a bunch of insights about that. Remembering tiny details about you. Finds excuses to touch you. Being super feminine around you. Friends who know of you or get excited around you. Illogical spacing or timing, like where a girl's, at a party and she walks past so close to you, it's not funny, even though there's a good piece of space for her to walk. Even rubbing boobs against you, preening hair, adjusting clothes, necklace, earrings, etc., which Tess did a very good demonstration of for guys watching the replay. I want to watch it again. And laughing, giggling loudly, big movements. So we're going to wrap up pretty soon. So yeah, fire your last questions at us, guys. Sometimes we get our best stuff coming through here from some of the last minute questions. Often we do, actually, which is kind of frustrating at the 3 hour 20 mark or whatever we're at. So yeah, we'll do a few more questions. Then I'm going to go do a bunch of tech stuff and sort out how I fucked the startup. What did I ask about Mira Sorvino? Can't remember. It's just the actresses with nice chests club. Did I ask for actresses with nice chests? Salma Hayek, yeah, she's got some nice ones. Pregnant. I don't understand this one. Mira Sorvino. She turned on one of my favorite human beings of all time. I'm not keen on her after he got her an Oscar. Penelope Cruz. Cool. I'm definitely Team Uma Thurman over any of them. Some Uma Thurman trivia. Her dad is one of the world's greatest Buddhist scholars. I saw him speak in public one time. He's a great speaker. Okay, here we go. In terms of old, ugly men can't get hot girls, Uma Thurman's father, who's literally got an old school glass eye, it's like, it's kind of awkward. It's not one of the new fancy ones. It's like an old school, I don't know how old it is. He's literally got a woman who, from memory, is more beautiful than Uma Thurman. He literally got Uma Thurman's mother as not a particularly attractive guy. So yeah, old, dare I say, very unattractive men can get beautiful women. And he's a Buddhist scholar. He's not, how many supermodels are banging like Buddhist scholars? They're not exactly earning big bucks and driving around in Ferraris. Okay, question, Tess?
Yes. Sorry, Luke was answering your question as well. He's saying Slovakia, Hungary, Italy.
Italy?
That's top.
I've only had, off the top of my head, 3 Italian girls. They're good, but I haven't been drawn to them. I've had a lot more French, Spanish, a few Spanish as well. Why have you put Italy amongst the Eastern European countries? Slovakia is an interesting one. That's got great nature, and apparently their language is very close to Russian. And I think they've got over 2,000 hours of sunlight a year, and they've got very mild winters. So yeah, who knows? Slovakia might be a place for me. Budapest has a cultural elite, not to the level of St. Petersburg, or probably Moscow, but probably next up in Europe. France would be there too. Tell me why you're so keen on Italian. That's interesting. The Northern Italian girls are pretty special. Bit of a nice comments about Tess. Tess is looking even more ravishing tonight. It's probably her new teleprompter that I bought her, and she's got a much better camera. We'll probably upgrade that soon when we get a few more views. Which Tess will have a fancy new camera. So I should give Tess my fancy camera, but then no one would be able to contact me. That would be a bit of a problem. Oh, this is really sweet. I'd be super lucky to meet one of this caliber and spend the rest of my life whispering sweet nothings and looking into her eyes, cuddling and holding hands. You got some fans on YouTube, Tess. So yeah.
Thank you, Martin. That's very sweet of you.
You're making a Tess blush. He's the one who says it. There's probably a few thinking it. Most of the time, girls don't even ask your age in my experience. Why not just bring it up if she doesn't? Many people will say I look a lot younger than I am, and I will often bring it up proactively. There's a fucking shitty corporate word from Stephen Covey books and 80s and 90s corporate world. Simply because if she's going to freak out about my age, I want to know at the 10-minute or the 20-minute mark, not the second date, or first date, which is where most guys screw up. Anyway, just in case you see me screwing around a bit, I'm sitting on this cushion because my chair in the place I'm staying is not quite high enough, particularly for a thing. And it's causing some pressure on the crown jewels, which at my age, having not had a family, I've got to be quite careful of. So I'm just making sure that there's no serious damage done, because whatever, there's some pain happening here. I might just let Tess take over and make a few adjustments. So Tess, you wanna cover for me while I do a bit of wriggling around? I'm like a girl who wore a skirt that's too short. I don't have like puffy jeans on. It's just this cushion's making things awkward for me. So I'm just going to make some adjustments. If anyone found my current struggles amusing, I could do with feedback about this, or should I just get on with getting you guys laid?
No worries. Okay, so so James is just upfront about his age. That's the most important thing is don't lie about it, and also it shows a lot of confidence if you are just upfront as well. So I'm just have a look here. Though I feel like I saw a question that was aimed at me. Oh, here's one from Tacticus. Welcome. Russo Australia, Tess. No, I am born and raised in Australia, but I am first generation. I'm actually Filipino and South African. So yeah, no European there. Although South African side, yes, there's some European heritage there.
I might just say in the younger woman thing, I have told at least one girl my true age, and she went, so yeah, there will be some girls who will freak out at a number. There's no doubt about that.
That's a good question. Okay, moving on, because we are going to have to wrap up soon. Shan Purr, welcome. It seems like we've got a bunch of new guys jumping on at this stage. Welcome. It's great to have you guys here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the bell, share this with your friends. We really appreciate that. But how important is dress sense? Okay, go ahead, James.
Imperative. Men, how important is dress sense? Men look at a girl's face, they look at her chest, they look at her legs, they look at her bum, they look at her whatever body fat percentage, and they go, I'll do her. Women look at a guy and they look at the way he presents himself, his style, does his belt match his shoes, and they conclude, oh, he's probably had attractive women before. He probably has a high status, probably potentially high paying job. Don't say I want to bang him, but I'm really interested in him. I think last boot camp, I wore one of these, and I wore these really nice black jeans, and just nice trainers, or French trainers, it turned out. And the hottest to the second hottest girl in a very popular Sydney bar with a lot of hot girls, she basically cold approached me and tried to get me to stop. And again, she was like early 20s. And then when I walked up later with some of my clients to approach her, the first thing she said, I go, oh, so what's the best thing you got planned for the weekend? Or whatever I said, she goes, are you from France? No bullshit. So if you know how to dress, and that's one of the first things we teach guys, conversation, style reading signals, date planning. Once you know how to dress, and it's not just this one size fits all, we get you to send pictures of all your outfits. So we get to see your build, your colorings, blah, 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 blah. And we get you to take them in the mirror so we can see what your bum looks like. We do a very, very thorough job. And yeah, guys just goes crazy. Oh, someone knows their 80s movie, their 70s or 80s music trivia really well. I shouldn't have got the thing off. So yeah, style is everything. Tess, I think I meant to shut this one off much sooner. We're about to hit that 4-hour mark, which we're not to go over. So did you want to add 30 seconds on style?
Yeah, it's huge, guys. Obviously, first impressions are very, very important. You want that to be strong. And the way you dress or present yourself contributes heavily to the way that women are going to be forming that first opinion of you. So yes, it is very, very important. And yeah, James is exactly right. Countless times we've seen clients just change a few things and instantly they're like, yeah, I might getting more attention from women, or they're just responding better. Yeah, dress sense is very important. And it can just be like a few simple things that you need to change.
I won't put it up for long because we want to sign off. Some lovely comments there. Thank you so much. Haven't seen you before. So yeah, please come along. The video will be live soon. Please, if you guys are enjoying this and you've made it this far, the video will be live in like 2-3 minutes. Google's really quick. If you could possibly put a nice comment into the live video, that will mean the world to us. And you'll have Tess doing YouTube videos and we'll be doing shorts and all that. We just need to get a bit more traction. And yeah, I got to sign off now. So yeah, thank you so much for my lovely co-host, lovely, very capable co-host. And yeah, keep smiling and bye for now. Ciao.
See you guys.